Chapter 521. You mean Nangong Yu and Cho Sin don't know Li Wei is here? Zishang raised a brow. They will only think that Yun Wei is here. Other than Yun Jioge and Zishang, no one else knew that Yun Wei was Li Wei's reincarnation. Don't underestimate the difference. Yun Wei was just a pill master, but Li Wei was her divine guard. Nangong Yu would make a wrong judgment if she didn't know his true identity. This was the best protection for Li Wei. If Yun Jioge went to find Li Wei openly, it would help Nangong Yu set a direction. I see. Zishang was very confident in Yun Jioge's divination skills. Yun Jioge and Zishang came to an empty house and let Gua and the rabbit elder out. He wanted to check if they were injured. However, the rabbit elder said angrily, "You lied to us." I didn't. You should have heard what I said at the square. We didn't capture you on purpose. Yun Jioge felt helpless. These rabbits were really sensitive and suspicious. The slightest movement could make them flip out. You said you would save our people. Where are they now? The rabbit elder pressed. Here. Yun Jioge let the rabbit leader out. Leader. Elder. The two old rabbits hugged each other and started crying. They didn't look wise at all. Miss Yun, how's Gu? Gua ran to Yun Jioge and asked with red eyes. When she was captured, she only saw Gu fall to the bottom of the cliff with heavy injuries. He's fine. He's recovering at Eagle Cliff. If you want to see him, I'll get Aze to send you there. Yun Jioge said while checking Gua's pulse. Luckily Gua was very healthy and the baby was fine. Gua looked at the leader and the elder hesitantly and shook her head. I'll go see Gu later. The elder had a huge misunderstanding about Miss Yun. She was worried that the elder would leave with his people in a fit of anger. She could stay and persuade them. Yun Jioge looked at the rabbit leader and elder who were hugging each other and said, "If you don't want to stay, I won't force you. Find Elder Bai if you have any problems." Then he turned and walked out of the house. You're too kind to them. Zishang's expression was a little displeased. Those rabbits didn't know what was good for them, so they should be locked up and taught a lesson. Or they could be directly used for research. There are so many shape-shifting orcs. They're not the only ones we need. When Dummy wakes up, he'll know the secret of the golden light. If the rabbit tribe was the only answer, Yun Jioge would harden her heart and deal with them, but she didn't want to be the bad guy right now. Alright. Zishang had originally wanted to secretly make the rabbit tribe suffer a little. Now that he saw that Yun Jioge really didn't care about it at all, he dispelled that thought. Yun Jioge came to the guest hall and ordered Aze, call Elder Bai over. Yes. Aze nodded and called Elder Bai over. Miss Yun, have you rescued the rabbit tribe? Elder Bai asked as soon as she sat down. The military counselor had already told her that Gua could transform. He really hoped that Yun Jioge could find the secret of the golden light from the rabbit tribe. That way the orc race would be saved. Yes, but they don't know the secret of the golden light. We can only wait for Dummy to wake up to know the answer. Yun Jioge was worried that Elder Bai would harm the rabbit tribe, so she helped them. It seems we still have to rely on our prince. Elder Bai felt it was a pity, but for some reason he felt proud. That's right, we can only rely on him. Yun Jioge's affirmation made Elder Bai even more proud. By the way, the Divine Messenger has already set up a secret base in the Death Swamp to capture shape-shifting orcs everywhere. You must speed up the rescue operation. Also, send people to escort the Leopard Tribe and Lizard Tribe back. Yun Jioge took out Little Flower and Big Ear's keepsakes. Yes. Elder Bai took the keepsakes solemnly and began to think about how to complete this mission. This was different from taking back the Centaur Tribe and the Oxhuman Tribe. This was a mission personally issued by Yun Jioge. If he couldn't complete it perfectly, it would be troublesome. Yun Jioge sent Elder Bai away and was about to rest when she heard Aze say that the rabbit tribe's leader and elder wanted to see her. Let them in. Yun Jioge nodded. These rabbits discussed very quickly. Lady Yun, we've decided. We hope to stay in Yun City, the rabbit tribe's leader and elder said respectfully to Yun Jioge. Sure, I'll tell Meng to arrange it for you. Yun Jioge was letting Elder Bai lead the Eagle Tribe against the outside world and Meng lead the Serpent Tribe against the inside world. This was their reward for joining him first. Lady Yun, I was too emotional before and was disrespectful to you. Please forgive me, the Rabbit Tribe's leader said guiltily. It's nothing, I can understand. Yun Jioge then put on a look that said, What else do you want? The Rabbit Tribe's leader and elder glanced at each other. Then the Rabbit Tribe's leader walked up and said to Yun Jioge, You asked about the origin of the golden light in our bodies. I thought about it and remembered that the ancestors left some clues. What clues? Yun Jioge raised an eyebrow. These rabbits were indeed hiding something. Lady Yun, before I tell you this clue, I hope that you can fulfill a few small requests of our rabbit tribe, the tribe's leader said bravely. Say it. As long as it's not too excessive, I can fulfill it. Yun Jioga didn't dislike the rabbit's petty thoughts as long as they didn't go overboard. First, I hope that you can choose a suitable base in the city, the tribe's leader said carefully. You can only choose a base that hasn't been occupied. Yun Jioga wouldn't chase away other beastmen for them. Of course, the tribe's leader said hurriedly. Alright, what's the second request? Yun Jioga saw that the tribe's leader didn't look like an idiot. He probably wouldn't make any ridiculous requests. Second, I hope that you can accept Demeng as your guard. He's the strongest warrior of our rabbit tribe and also the fastest beastman in transformation. With him around, your safety will be guaranteed. The rabbit tribe's leader spoke of Demeng proudly. Sure. Yun Jioga nodded. Demeng's male rabbit looked quite strong. Lady Yun, you are so generous. I thank you on behalf of the rabbit tribe. The rabbit tribe's leader knew when to stop. You only have these 2 requests? Yun Jioga was very surprised. These were just 2 small requests. Even if they didn't use the clues about the golden light, she would still agree. Chapter 522. Yes, that's all. The leader nodded. Of course she wanted more, but greedy rabbits didn't make people like them. I can give you 2 more requests. Tell me when you think of them. Yun Jioga didn't want to take advantage of these 2 rabbits. Thank you for your kindness. The leader of the rabbits was happy. She knew Yun Jioga was a generous person. She wouldn't lose out if she followed him. Okay, now tell me what the clue is, Yun Jioga said. It's blood, the leader of the rabbits said seriously. Blood. Yun Jioga immediately thought of what Little Flower had said. Cho Sun had captured the orcs and locked them in cages to drink their blood. Could drinking blood absorb the power of the golden light? If that was true, wasn't the leader of the rabbits afraid that he would eat them? Yes, it's our blood. After we give birth to our children, we feed them a little of our blood to stimulate their strength. However, this method only works on our people. It doesn't work on other beastmen, including the other group of rabbit people. The rabbit chief was gambling that Yun Jioga wouldn't hurt them by revealing this secret. I need some of your blood to prove this. Yun Jioga didn't think the rabbits were lying, but he still had to verify it. Of course you can take mine, the leader of the rabbits said. No, take mine. The rabbit elder, who hadn't said anything, walked forward. Her red eyes looked at Yun Jioga and said, If you need, I can stay by your side and let you examine me. You don't have to be so nervous. You aren't the only orcs that can transform. Yun Jioga told them about Little Flower and Big Ear. He wanted the rabbit people to relax. I didn't expect Little Flower and Big Ear to have the golden light. It looks like the secret of the golden light is deep. The leader of the rabbits and the elder knew Little Flower and Big Ear. They relaxed when they heard they had companions. You can take the blood yourself. I want the blood of all of your people. I don't need too much. 1 bottle is enough for each of you. Yun Jioga took out a few hundred transparent crystal bottles that were the size of a thumb. He said, Remember to write the names on the bottles. Don't confuse them. Yes. The rabbit elder and the leader took the bottles and left respectfully. After the 2 left Yun Jioga's house, they sighed in relief. They were both glad that they had survived. Telling a secret like this had put a lot of pressure on them. Luckily, Yun Jioga's reaction was within their expectations. I hope we weren't wrong. The rabbit elder laughed bitterly. She was a pessimist by nature, so this kind of adventure did not suit her. However, she had no other choice. She had just walked around with the elder and was stunned by the majestic castle. She had just gone out for a stroll with the elder and was stunned by this majestic castle. Without a doubt, this kind of castle would become the beastman's reliance to resist the cold, hunger and death. Currently, the eaglemen and nagas had already gained a foothold in the castle, while the centaurs and oxmen had arrived earlier than them. In the future they would also be put in an important position. The rabbit tribe was finished. Previously they had been disrespectful to Yun Jioga. Even if they could stay in Cloud City, they would be at the bottom. The rabbit tribe leader didn't want this to happen. In order to gain a place in Cloud City, she took the risk to reveal the secret. Let's go. Let's choose a base before drawing the blood of our tribesmen. The rabbit chief had already chosen to believe Yun Jioga. Thus, he did not think too much about it. They led their clansmen to choose a fertile place to settle down, then asked Great Meng to send the blood samples of all their clansmen over. Put it there. Yun Jioga had already remodeled his house. There was a row of wooden racks by the wall that were specially used to store blood samples. At this time there were already 3 tubes of blood on it. They belonged to Dummy, Xiaohua and Big Ear. Demeng carefully poured all the blood into it, then looked at Yun Jioga in awe. Miss Yun, do you have any other orders? Yun Jioga was taking notes. Without raising his head, he said, there's nothing else. You can go down now. Yes. After Demeng left, he automatically stood guard at the left door. Aze, who was dozing off to the right, saw Demeng and said unhappily, Rabbit, go back to where you belong after delivering the things. Don't block the way. This is where I should go. Demeng looked at Aze coldly. The place you should go is the rabbit house, not here. Aze raised his eyebrows and made a fierce look. Miss Yun has already agreed to take me as a guard. You have no right to chase me away. Demeng raised his chin and looked at Aze with disdain. That's impossible. Only the eagle men can be Miss Yun's guard. You're just a male rabbit. What right do you have to steal our position? Aze realized that he was being looked down upon by a rabbit. He was furious. They had fought with the Naga several times to get the position of guard. Because I can defeat you, Demeng said in a low voice. Before coming, the chief told him that he didn't need to hide his power. He had to let Miss Yun see his value. Ha, a rabbit dares to say that he can defeat me? Aze thought this male rabbit was crazy. If you don't believe me, come and try. Demeng showed a provocative expression. I'll beat you to death. Aze immediately flapped his wings and charged at Demeng. His fist brought with it a sharp sound of wind. Demeng rolled on the ground and dodged to the side. Little rabbit, how come you're down before I even hit you? Aze laughed. Just when he was about to give Demeng a lesson, he felt a pain in his chest. His body flew out involuntarily. Demeng jumped up from the ground and chased after Aze with extreme speed. His fists landed on Aze's body, pressing him to the ground and beating him up. The orcs who passed by surrounded them and cheered as they watched the commotion. Aze, aren't you an eagleman? How come you're beaten up like this by the rabbitmen? Aha, rabbits used to be the food of eagles. Now it's the other way around. Elder Bai heard the commotion and rushed over. Seeing that Aze was beaten black and blue, he was about to go up and stop him. Don't move. Yun Jioga stopped Elder Bai. She had heard the commotion and came out. Miss Yun, if you continue, Aze will go crazy. Then that male rabbit will be in danger, Elder Bai said urgently. Aze will go crazy? What does that mean? Yun Jioga's heart jumped. Don't think that Aze looks dumb and easy to bully. When he's really angry, he's very scary. Elder Bai hurriedly recounted Aze's past. Chapter 523. His parents passed away when he was very young, leaving his brother, who was 3 years younger than him, to depend on each other. The tribe would distribute food to them regularly, but it wasn't enough to fill their stomachs. One day, Aze saw that his brother was very hungry, so he sneaked him out of Eagle Cliff to pick fruits. He didn't expect to enter the territory of Gale wolf rabbits. Gale wolf rabbits were mutated species. They looked like rabbits but were crueler and more ferocious than wolves. The Gale wolf rabbit tore Aze's brother apart and swallowed him. At the time, Aze was only 10. When he saw his brother get killed, he suddenly went crazy. Not only did he kill the rabbits, but he also injured the people who went to find them. Later on, the old tribe leader personally brought him back. Elder Bai still had lingering fear when he talked about the past. Aze, who was covered in wolf blood, was as scary as a demon. Although he returned to normal after waking up, he would lose control when he saw the Gale wolf rabbit. He would even be very aggressive when he saw the rabbit race. It wasn't until Agu's rabbit companion, Gua, appeared that his hostility toward the rabbit race decreased. But now that he was being suppressed by Demeng, he might very well go crazy. It would be too late to stop him. Was the golden light the reason for Aze's madness? Yun Jioga was still mulling over this problem when he heard Zishang say coldly, Aze, it was because you were too useless that your brother was killed by the Gale wolf rabbit. What are you talking about? Zishang was clearly rubbing salt on Aze's wound. Yun Jioga wanted to beat him to death. Aze, who was waving his fists randomly, immediately froze when he heard Zishang's words. Demeng flipped away from Aze. He just wanted to prove his power. He didn't want to hurt others. Aze, are you okay? Elder Bai asked worriedly. Aze looked up. His eagle eyes were eerily red. He let out a shrill scream and leaped toward Great Meng crazily. Demeng blocked with his hand but felt his arm was about to break. He couldn't help but fly back. He quickly steadied himself and counterattacked, punching at Aze's ribs. Aze dodged to the side and fought with Demeng. Hurry up and open your spirit eye to check. Zishang urged Yun Jioga. I already opened it. Yun Jioga opened his spirit eye and found that Aze's golden light was like a burning flame. The fuel was his life force. Quick, capture Aze. Yun Jioga said urgently. If this continued, Zhe would really go crazy. Zishang immediately stopped Zhe. Zhe struggled with all his might, almost flipping Zhe to see sword over. Yun Jioga flicked out his moon spirit threads and tied him up. Then he quickly pricked him with needles to let out his blood. Zhe's meridians were blocked. The golden light gradually faded, but he was unconscious. Is Zhe okay? Elder Bai quickly came over. I'm fine. I just need to rest for a few days. Yun Jioga stood up and looked at Demeng. You're injured. Do you want to go back and rest? No need, it's just a superficial wound. Demeng shook his head. The golden light on his body could heal wounds. Zhe was strong, but he didn't deal a fatal injury to him. That's good. Yun Jioga took Zhe in to get his blood drawn and let Elder Bai send him back to Eagle Cliff. At this time, Yun Jioga had already received 4 blood samples and placed them on the wooden shelves. The Leopard Men race and the Lizard Men race each took charge. The Eagle Men race had 2. The Rabbit Men race had 500. The blood samples of the 4 races were clearly different. The Leopard Men and Lizard Men races' blood was a little gray. It looked like they were slightly infected by devil chi. The Rabbit Men race's blood was very light. Some of it might have been absorbed by their bones, skin and flesh. Zhe's blood was fiery red. This was a special characteristic of his berserk race. Dummy's blood was the brightest. It was golden and warm. It was also the thickest of all the blood samples. Yun Jioga tried to put the Rabbit Men race's blood together with the Eagle Men and Leopard Men race's blood. There was a violent collision between the two. In the end, they melted into a pool of blood. If their blood is incompatible, why did Chosen suck their blood? Zishang asked. Maybe he's practicing some technique that can counteract this effect. Yun Jioga guessed. Looks like I still have to drag him out of Grey Castle and ask him. Zishang rubbed his chin. He was thinking about how to attack Grey Castle. First, you have to get rid of the death chi and miasma. This Feifei can help. Second, you have to get rid of the puppet orcs. This is a little troublesome, Yun Jioga analyzed. Because the puppet orcs were not afraid of death or pain. Ordinary orcs could not do that. Grey Castle should have many magic stone tools. Ordinary orcs could not resist them. In the current situation, we can only make the orcs awaken the golden light as soon as possible. If we can awaken a golden light orc army, then attacking Grey Castle will not be a problem. Zishang thought for a while and said, so far it seems that there are 3 ways to awaken the orcs. First, blood inheritance. Second, the death of a loved one. Third, life and death. We just have to simulate these 3 situations and throw the orcs in. Then we can harvest a large number of golden light orcs. This is just a hypothesis. We can't test it before we are sure. Yun Jioga glared at Zishang. This was the key to conquering the orc tribe. What if they were scared away? Then I hope you can test it as soon as possible. Time is limited. Chosen and Nangong, you will not sit still and wait for us to catch up. Zishang shrugged. Instead of boasting to me here, why don't you go and help Elder Bai and Meng? The more orcs you gather, the closer we will be to the golden light. Yun Jioga said as he pushed Zishang out of the door to prevent him from causing trouble. After driving Zishang out, Yun Jioga called Meng over. Miss Yun, what can I do for you? He looked at Yun Jioga fervently. Elder Bai had been summoned many times, and even the rabbit tribe leader had come once. However, he had not been summoned even once. He was really worried that the Naga tribe had fallen out of favor. Meng, how many orcs are controlled by the demonic energy? Yun Jioga asked. There are 10 now. 5 are Nagas, 3 are centaurs and 2 are bulls. Meng's voice was heavy. It was all his fault for leading his people to seek refuge with the oracle. That was why his people were controlled. If they had not met Yun Jioga, they would have ended up like the Knoll tribe. Bring them to the house at the back of the mountain. I will see if I can cure them. The area at the back of the mountain had been designated as a prison by Yin Shirley. Yun Jioga planned to conduct his experiment on activating the orc's golden light there. I will bring them there now. Meng turned around and left. Just as Yun Jioga was about to move the blood sample and the wooden frame to the back of the mountain, Demeng came in and reported that the military advisor of the Eagle tribe was requesting an audience. Tell him to wait for me in the guest hall. Yun Jioga put the blood sample and the wooden frame into his storage bag and walked out of the guest hall. Miss Yun. The military advisor quickly stood up when he saw Yun Jioga. He placed his fist on his left chest and saluted. Chapter 524. Sit. How's your injury? Yun Jioga saw that counselor looked fine. He should have recovered well. My injury is healed thanks to you. Egu has woken up too. He's with Guar in the city. Counselor sat down. Wait a moment. When Yun Jioga heard this, he called Meng in and said, later tell Chief Meng to remember all the pregnant beastmen. Every morning I will check on them in the house beside the plaza. Then I will give each pregnant woman an extra portion of food. Yes, sir. Meng answered loudly and went out. Lady Yun, you only have Meng as your bodyguard. I'm afraid it won't be enough. Why don't I send Ah Ping and Ah Fei over? The military advisor asked carefully. No need. Zhe is enough. Yun Jioga shook his head. She could protect herself. She didn't need so many orcs as guards. Zhe is your guard, but he lost control when he was on duty. He failed to live up to your trust. Counselor lowered his head in shame. If Zhe wasn't still unconscious, he would have tied him up and dragged him over. They finally got a good position next to Lady Yun because of the human race, but it was ruined by Zhe. Don't blame Zhe. He'll still be my guard when he recovers, Yun Jioga said. I'm afraid he won't have the face to see you. Counselor shook his head. Yun Jioga thought about it and said, how about this? I'm going to set up a personal guard team. There will be 2 eagle people, snake people, rabbit people, centaur people and bull people. Zhe will be the captain and Amon will be the vice captain. What do you think? If Zhe is the captain, the whole team will fall apart. Counselor showed an exaggerated expression. Although he was grateful for Yun Jioga's trust in the eagle people, Zhe was really unreliable. Then let him be the vice captain. Yun Jioga smiled and said, I recently discovered some clues that might be able to stimulate the golden light in an orc's body. Do you want to investigate it with me? The military advisor was quite smart, and it would be good to have him as an assistant. It's my honor. Counselor suppressed his excitement and bowed to Yun Jioga. Then go to the back mountain and see if Meng brought the orcs there. Yun Jioga said. Yes. After the military counselor left, Yun Jioga called Amon in and asked him to inform the Beastman Patriarch to select his personal guards. I'll go now. Meng did not know that he was about to become the team leader. He was overjoyed when he heard that he could choose another rabbit man. Yun Jioga left the meeting hall and went to the back of the mountain. There was a large wall at the back of the mountain, and inside it was a low gray prison cell. The prison had 2 floors and there were more than 10 small cells on the ground. The dungeon was used to hold important people. Yun Jioga pushed the door open and walked into the cell. He saw that Meng and the military advisor had already placed the out-of-control orc in a large cell. Among the Nagas were Aunt Gaga and 4 middle-aged female Nagas who used to plant the Gaga grass. The centaurs were 2 aunties while the oxen were 2 youths. Both of their expressions were numb, their eyes lifeless. These people are controlled because they have been in contact with the magic stone for a long time. Meng briefly explained their situation. I got it. You can go back to your work. Yun Jioga waved his hand and left respectfully. Miss Yun, how do you plan to test their golden light? The military counselor asked excitedly. Based on my research, there are 3 ways for orcs to awaken their golden light. First, it's through blood inheritance. Second, it's the death of their loved ones. Third, it's a matter of life and death. I want to simulate this situation and see if I can awaken them. However, based on the information she had collected so far, those who could awaken their golden light were all young and strong men. It would be difficult for the old, weak women and children. However, she could only try her best in this situation. Miss Yun, why don't you let me try? The military counselor did not believe that the old, weak women and children could awaken their golden light. You? Yun Jioga looked at the military counselor. He was a good seedling. The Eagle Squad is willing to be your test subject. No matter what happens, we will not complain. The military counselor swore with a serious face. The fate of the gnolls had alerted all the orcs. Awakening the golden light was the only way out. He was willing to pay any price for it. All right, I agree to your request. However, let's use them for the test first. The gray gas in their brains is easier to observe. It won't be too late to use it on you after I find a suitable plan. Good steel should be used where it matured. She would use the military counselor as a test subject after the plan was mature. It would be best if she could succeed in one shot. Yes. The military counselor nodded. Then he asked seriously, what do we do now? There are no rabbit men here, so we can't use the blood inheritance. Let's try the other 2 first. Find out the family situation of these orcs first, Yun Jioga ordered. The military counselor was stunned. He asked nervously, are you going to kill their relatives? Do I look like such a cruel and stupid person? Yun Jioga was speechless. What did the military counselor think of her? No. The military counselor nodded honestly. He was also ashamed of his sudden idea. All right, do your investigation well. I'm going out for a while. Yun Jioga left the back of the mountain and prepared to look for Ian Shirley in the plantation. The plantation had expanded for a few more miles. The gray wall divided the vast and fertile land, which would be given to the orcs as their territory. Yun Jioga did not walk through the tunnel. Instead, she jumped onto the wall. She looked down from above and saw that the territory of the Naga tribe had already grown large yellow grass. The walls were covered in moss. The Naga tribe had built a row of wooden houses near the entrance. It was said that these houses were personally designed by Ian Shirley. The orcs lived on the upper floors while the livestock were kept on the lower floors. Now there were many elk, pheasants, goats and other wild beasts. These wild beasts wanted to escape at first. Later, when they realized that they could eat and drink here and that it was safe, they succumbed one by one. The large grass and moss in the territory of the horse race and the ox race next door had also started to grow. They also lived in stilted houses. There were also wild beasts downstairs. They were prepared to exchange them with other races in the future. Moreover, because they were herbivores, these wild beasts were very tame. They were much easier to deal with than the Naga tribe. The territory chosen by the rabbit men was at the border of the other races' territories. Although they had only been here for 2 days, rows of stilted houses had already been built. They were really good at planting. The large grass and moss grew faster than the horse race and the ox race. On a sturdy stilted house, Guer said to it, "Gu, if you live here with me, we can raise some wild beasts under the stilted house." "All right, I'll listen to you." Gu was a henpecked man. He would do whatever Guer said. "Then why are you still standing there? Go and catch them." Guer patted Gu's wings reproachfully. "I'll go now." Gu immediately flapped his wings and left. He turned into a small black dot in the sky. Chapter 525. Yun Jioga was in an indescribably good mood as she looked at this lively scene. She didn't want to disturb the working orcs, so she covered herself with moon spirit silk and walked along the wall. When she passed by the rabbit people's territory, she saw the rabbit chief walking to her stilted house and seemed to be watering it. Yun Jioga took a closer look and realized that the land was planted with carrots. After the black rain disaster, countless edible plants died, leaving only the strong wild grass. Now only the rabbit people grew carrots in the entire Cloud City. She felt that it was necessary to study it. Yun Jioga jumped off the wall and removed her disguise. She pretended to casually walk past the rabbit people's gate. "Miss Yun, why are you here? Come in and sit." Gu saw her and immediately came out excitedly. The rabbit chief, who had just finished watering, came out and invited Yun Jioga to visit. The other busy rabbit people also hurried over and looked at her with respect and admiration. "How are you guys living here?" Yun Jioga smiled and walked into the rabbit people's territory. "It's very good here. Thank you for giving us such a safe territory." The rabbit elder was happy from the bottom of her heart. After the black rain disaster, they hadn't felt safe and relaxed like this for a long time. "That's good. You guys go ahead. I'll just have a chat with the chief." Yun Jioga waved her hand and let the rabbit people continue with their work. "Miss Yun, this way please." The rabbit chief thought that Yun Jioga was looking for her, so she led her to her stilted house. The chief's stilted house was in the corner of the territory. Other than a bunch of dried green carrot leaves hanging at the door, it was no different from the other rabbit people's stilted houses. Yun Jioga didn't go upstairs. She walked directly to the first floor. The rabbit chief hurriedly followed and smiled. "This place is dirty and broken. There's nothing to see here." "Really? I think it's good that you're planting carrots here," Yun Jioga said with a smile. The rabbit chief was stunned. She smiled calmly. "I really can't hide anything from you. These carrots are planted for the cubs of the tribe to eat. However, they've just been planted. It'll take at least a month for them to grow. If they're successful, I'll send some over for you to try." "How did you plant them?" Yun Jioga asked casually. "Just planted casually. The land here is alive, so it should be able to succeed," the rabbit elder said. Yun Jioga took a whiff and immediately frowned. "You used blood to plant carrots?" The rabbit tribe leader was stunned, unable to reply for a long time. "I noticed that the weeds in your territory are growing very well. Don't tell me you guys used your blood to grow them?" Yun Jioga looked straight into the eyes of the rabbit tribe leader. "No." The rabbit chief laughed bitterly and said, "We're not blood rabbits. How can we treat our blood as rain and scatter it everywhere? I have no choice. Newborn babies can only eat this." "Have you always used blood to plant them?" Yun Jioga asked. "No, it's because we couldn't grow carrots anymore after the black rain, so we used blood to grow them." The rabbit chief shook his head. What about before the Black Rain disaster? Yun Jioga continued asking. At that time, as long as we watered them on time, the carrots would grow. That was why the rabbit chief hated the Black Rain disaster. How about this? I'll give you a mission. Open up 2 more plots of land to plant carrots. One plot will be watered on time like before, and the other plot will be watered with your feces. Yun Jioga wanted to do a test to see if there was any difference between the carrots grown on the 3 plots of land. Won't it be very dirty to use feces on the ground? The rabbit chief looked hesitant. She did not understand what Yun Jioga meant. Animal feces are the best nutrients for the land. Yun Jioga saw the rabbit chief's confused expression, so he told her the method of fermenting feces. Then he encouraged her. Try it. You'll discover a new world. All right, I'll let my tribesmen try it later. The rabbit chief nodded seriously. She could sense that the method Yun Jioga gave them was very important. As a reward, I'll give you these cabbage seeds. You can try planting them when you have the time. Yun Jioga took out the most common cabbage seeds in the mortal realm from his storage bag. He had randomly collected them in Thunder Nation and placed them inside. These cabbages were easy to plant and had a high yield. Once they were planted, they would be good food. Thank you, Miss Yun. The rabbit chief took the seeds respectfully and immediately felt that she was valued. She became more friendly to brother Yun Jioga. Don't let anyone know about the blood-bred carrots. Do you understand? Yun Jioga warned sternly. If the carrots produced by the rabbit blood had any special effects, then these rabbits must be protected. Otherwise it would be troublesome. Don't worry, Miss Yun. Only you know about this method. The rabbit chief was not a fool. This carrot field was a secret even in her tribe. No one knew about it except the elders. That's good. Take care of yourself. Your tribesmen still need you. Yun Jioga looked at the knife marks hidden under the hide of the rabbit elder. He admired her selfless spirit. The rabbit chief smiled. She was very grateful for Yun Jioga's concern. After Yun Jioga left under the enthusiastic gaze of the rabbit people, he went to look for Een Shirley. Een Shirley was still building a wall with his wife and child. Fei Fei, who was beside him, was working hard to turn a dead land into a living land. Ever since Zishang took Fei Fei away on the day he built the city, this little black and white butterfly had been working diligently. It had already become a divine beast in the hearts of the orcs. They worshipped it as much as she did. Master, look at how much living land I've made. Fei Fei flapped her wings and flew over when she saw Yun Jioga. She looked very proud. Good job. Yun Jioga patted Fei Fei's head encouragingly and fed her a few cherry pills. Fei Fei swallowed the cherry pill and went back to work eagerly. She felt a sense of mission now. Opening up a living land meant more food. If she gave it to the orcs, she could save many lives. Miss Yun, why are you here? Een Shirley walked over after he finished the last brick. His wife and child continued working on the same spot. I want you to help me create an illusion, Yun Jioga said straightforwardly. The amount of yin yang qi I have is enough to build a wall. I'm afraid I can't create an illusion. Een Shirley frowned. He had been oppressed by Zishang for the past few days. He was about to puke from building a wall. I'll build a formation first. You just have to inject some yin yang qi into it. It won't take much effort. Yun Jioga couldn't bear to part with her divine power. She could only look for Een Shirley. All right. Een Shirley was just grumbling. He didn't forget that Fan Een had given him a mission. He had to listen to all of Yun Jioga's orders. Chapter 526. Then let's go now. Where are they? Yun Jioga looked at the 2 figures, one big and one small. Wait for me. Een Shirley walked over to Yun Jioga after putting away his wife and child in the corpse refinement bag. Fei Fei, let's go. Yun Jioga waved at Little Butterfly. I'm not going, I'm not done yet. Fei Fei focused on converting the death energy without looking at Yun Jioga. No one is guarding you. You can't come out by yourself. Yun Jioga personally grabbed its little wings and threatened it sternly. Be careful not to be taken away and turned into a fried butterfly. I'm so cute. Who would want to fry me? Fei Fei muttered, but it still landed on Yun Jioga's shoulder obediently. Your master is right. You're the most precious thing in the entire mystic realm. If Cho Sun and the rest discover your existence, they'll definitely capture you at all costs. Ever since Een Shirley found out that Fei Fei was the Yin Yang reincarnation butterfly, he admired Yun Jioga's boldness. He was actually willing to let such a precious thing work without fear of being robbed. Master won't let me be captured. Fei Fei retorted indignantly. Then it silently shrunk its body. Don't scare it. Yun Jioga stuffed another 2 cherry pills into Fei Fei's hands to prevent it from abandoning its task. The two returned to the prison at the back of the mountain. The military counselor had already gone to find Meng to understand the situation. The 10 dumbfounded beastmen were still locked up in their cells. You set up the illusion for them? Ian Shirley raised his eyebrows. This was overkill. Not for them, for the beastmen. Yun Jioga brought Ian Shirley down the stairs to the underground prison. The underground prison was dark and gloomy. There was no light at all. It emitted a damp, moldy, and cold aura. Yun Jioga lit a torch and stuck it on the wall. Then he took out a spirit stone and started setting up a formation. You know the 9 Hells transformation illusion? Ian Shirley widened his eyes in shock. This illusion had been circulating among the evil sects for a long time. Even he had not had the chance to see it. He did not expect it to appear on Yun Jioga. What's wrong with that? Do you think my title of goddess is fake? Yun Jioga dipped the cinnabar in and drew on the spirit stone. Runes with mysterious powers appeared on the spirit stone. She was too lazy to use her brain when Zishang was around, but that did not mean that she was brainless. After being a goddess for so many years, there was nothing in the world that she didn't understand. It was just that those memories had been sealed away by her and would only be rummaged through when needed. Are you really a goddess? Although Ian Shirley had already guessed Yun Jioga's identity, he was still very surprised to hear her admit it. What? Didn't Fan Yin tell you about me? Yun Jioga chatted with Ian Shirley as he drew. Master Fan Yin has never mentioned your identity. However, to be valued by him, I feel that you are not an ordinary person, Ian Shirley replied cautiously. In reality, the first time he met Yun Jioga, he was very disappointed. Yun Jioga was simply too weak. The only thing that stood out about him was his purple deceased sword. After Yun Jioga joined the Yin Corpse sect, he had been secretly observing to see if Yun Jioga was hiding anything. After that, Ink Flower, White Bones, and Cho Sen worked together to force Yun Jioga, but Yun Jioga still focused on escaping. He was so disappointed that he even suspected that Fan Yin had been deceived. But now, Ian Shirley finally understood that Yun Jioga's strength wasn't due to her martial strength. Instead, it was due to her inexplicable strength that made people believe in her. Reality proved that she was always right. I wasn't ordinary in the past, but I can't anymore. You still have to rely on yourselves to save this world. Yun Jioga placed the spirit stones on Ian Shirley's palm and said, use your Yin Yang Qi to carve the spirit stones according to the rune patterns. I will teach you how to place them later. Okay, Ian Shirley replied impatiently and started to analyze the rune patterns seriously. After he was done, these rune patterns were also carved in his mind. Next, Yun Jioga taught him how to bury these spirit stones deep into the ground according to the position of the 9 nether formation. It's done. You can go back and build your wall now. Yun Jioga clapped her hands and prepared to leave. Lady Yun, actually, those walls aren't that urgent. I can stay by your side and continue working. Ian Shirley learned the 9 nether transformation in illusory formation and realized that he had a better future by staying by Yun Jioga's side. Are you sure you're not in a hurry? Yun Jioga turned to look at Ian Shirley and said with a faint smile, wait for Zishang to tell me that. Don't. I'll go back and build the wall now. Ian Shirley couldn't help but tremble when he heard Zishang's name. That despicable fiendish demon wanted to squeeze his bone marrow dry. If he found out that he was slacking off, he would be finished. Take Fei Fei away. Remember to look after it. Yun Jioga placed Fei Fei on Ian Shirley's shoulder. Transforming the deathly aura was what the little butterfly should be doing. Don't worry. Even if I lose my wife and child, I won't lose it. This was definitely the heaviest oath Ian Shirley had ever made. Don't be nervous. You just have to look after it and don't let it run around. Yun Jioga still believed in Ian Shirley. Moreover, Fei Fei had the ability to protect itself. It was just that one more person meant one more safety. Not long after Ian Shirley left with Fei Fei, the military counselor and De Meng hurried over. Behind them were the Eagle Man, Ah Fei, and an unfamiliar female rabbit person. Sir, Elder Bai recommended Ah Fei to be your guard, the military counselor said. All right. Yun Jioga nodded and looked at the female rabbit person behind De Meng. This rabbit person had slightly dark skin and short hair. Her slender figure was full of explosive power. Her expressionless face looked even colder than ash. Facing Yun Jioga's scrutinizing gaze, she only said 4 words, I am Maya. Maya was sent here by the chief. She is an expert in our tribe. It's just that she doesn't like to talk, De Meng hurriedly said. Actually, Maya was stronger than him. It was just that her personality was too strange. That was why the chief did not send her here. This time, when she heard that the guards were going to expand, she decided to send Maya here. Very good. You don't have to talk much to be my guard. Yun Jioga nodded. Then, he looked at the military counselor and said, Have you finished what I asked you to do? Yes. This is the relationship between Aunt Gaga and the others. The military counselor took out a stone slab and began to explain to Yun Jioga. In summary, Aunt Gaga and the others had no children. They only had collateral relatives. That was why they were sent to interact with the magical stones. Do you still want to try? The military counselor asked carefully. Of course. Why not? Bring them to the dungeon. The few of you guard outside. Yun Jioga turned and walked towards the dungeon. The military counselor brought Aunt Gaga and the others into the dungeon. According to Yun Jioga's instructions, they tied them up in a corner. Come here. Yun Jioga sat in a small room beside the dungeon and waved at the military counselor. What do we do next? The military counselor walked in and asked. Nothing. Just watch them. Yun Jioga threw a spirit stone into the dungeon. The 9 Gloom Een illusion was officially activated. Chapter 527. The spirit stone that Yun Jioga threw fell to the ground silently. The 9 Nether Shift Een illusion was activated instantly. A faint black fog rose and enveloped Aunt Gaga and the other beastmen. The military advisor opened his eyes wide, trying to see what was going on inside. Unfortunately, his field of vision was completely dark. Miss Yun, what's going on? The military advisor turned around to ask Yun Jioga, only to see her solemn expression. Her pupils flickered with a faint golden light as she stared unblinkingly at the beastmen inside the formation. Calm down and take a look. The black fog is their current soul state. Only by breaking free can they awaken the golden light, Yun Jioga reminded the military advisor without looking back. Yes. The military advisor calmed down and took a closer look. The black fog was swaying wildly as if someone was trying to break free. Yun Jioga could see more clearly than the military advisor. The 10 beastmen were struggling in the illusion. Unfortunately, the power of the illusion was too strong. Soon, 2 Naga females fainted due to physical exhaustion and were automatically ejected from the illusion. This was the protection mechanism that Yun Jioga had set up to prevent them from being trapped inside. Gradually, more and more beastmen were ejected from the illusion. Finally, only the 2 bull-headed youths and Aunt Gaga were left. It seems like physical strength and vitality are also important conditions for awakening, Yun Jioga muttered to herself. Aunt Gaga was the strongest among the 10 beastmen, while the bull-headed youths were the youngest. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the 2 bull-headed youths were also ejected. Only Aunt Gaga was left. It seemed like she was just stalling for time. Miss Yun, let me try. The military advisor felt that Yun Jioga was wasting time. What could a group of old, weak women and children achieve by experimenting? There's no rush. I still need to adjust the illusion a little more. Yun Jioga calculated the time. The fastest to be ejected were the 4 middle-aged Naga females, followed by the centaur and bull-headed youths. Centaurs and bull-headed youths were famous for their strong endurance. If even they could not endure it, it meant that the illusion's physical requirements were too high. It seemed like she still had to find Ian Shirley to adjust the formation's physical requirements and increase the mental torture. Only then would it be easier to achieve results. At this moment, the military counselor suddenly said to Yun Jioga, who was deep in thought, Miss Yun, look at Aunt Gaga. Something doesn't seem right. Yun Jioga looked up and saw that all the black fog in the 9 Nether Een reversal formation had gathered on Aunt Gaga. Aunt Gaga remained motionless, but she was not ejected from the illusion. It was really strange. Yun Jioga thought for a moment, then sent out his divine sense into Aunt Gaga's illusion. Inside Aunt Gaga's divine sense, it was a barren wasteland. The river had dried up, the plants were all dead, and the corpses of the Naga tribe were everywhere. They were all skinny and their faces were full of despair. It seemed like they had starved to death. The entire world was filled with sorrow and despair. It was so oppressive that it made it hard for people to breathe. Yun Jioga looked around for Aunt Gaga and finally found her on the land where the Naga tribe planted Gaga grass. Her thin brown snake tail was coiled on the ground, her body was hunched and her arms were folded as if she was guarding something. Yun Jioga floated over and saw that Aunt Gaga was guarding several white snake eggs in her arms, which were covered with a thin layer of dry fried Gaga grass. Black and white, strong colors clashed, but with an indescribable vitality. Aunt Gaga's old face was so thin that it was out of shape. Her eyes were deep and turbid, but they were looking at the snake eggs with determination, as if she firmly believed that these eggs would survive. Yun Jioga fixed his eyes on the snake eggs and Gaga grass in Aunt Gaga's arms. Suddenly an idea came to him and he reached out his hand. The 9 netherine reversal formation rotated, and the black fog turned into white fog. The white snake eggs in Aunt Gaga's arms shook, making a small sound of breaking. A little naga the size of an index finger tried its best to come out of the shell. Its wet little head was covered with a white eggshell, and it looked at Aunt Gaga with its clear yellow eyes. Aunt Gaga's old face showed a kind smile, and her body turned into a golden light and fell to the ground. The grass and trees returned to spring, and the spring water gushed out, and vitality emerged. Yun Jioga's divine sense returned, and he quickly stood up and rushed into the formation. Military counselor also rushed in, and asked Yun Jioga nervously, "What happened? Why did Aunt Gaga fall to the ground as soon as she released the golden light?" Yun Jioga did not have time to answer military counselor's question. He took out the Thunderfire needle and quickly inserted it into Aunt Gaga's body, opening up all the golden light that had gathered at her tail. The golden light flowed like flowing water, and the grayness in Aunt Gaga's head was instantly dispelled, vanishing into thin air. Aunt Gaga succeeded, didn't she? Military counselor looked at Yun Jioga with enthusiasm. If Aunt Gaga succeeded, then it would be even easier for him. I'm not sure yet. Take Aunt Gaga to the room above to rest, and we'll talk about it when she wakes up. Yun Jioga had vaguely grasped the mystery of awakening the golden light, but there were still some things that he needed to verify. Miss Yun, let me try. I'll definitely succeed. Military counselor was burning with anxiety, and he could not wait to release the golden light immediately. I have my own plans for this. You just need to listen to my commands now. Yun Jioga could understand military counselor's feelings, but he was impatient. If military counselor's golden light also went out of control like Aze, then what was the point? I was too rash. Military counselor didn't want to leave a bad impression of Yun Jioga, so he sent Aunt Gaga away. After military counselor left, Yun Jioga let Little Blossom and Big Ear out and woke them up. Miss Yun? Little Blossom looked at the dim underground. He couldn't tell where he was. He shook his head and asked, "May I ask if my people have migrated over?" My people? Big Ear asked with a hoarse voice before opening his eyes. I've already sent the Eagle men to receive them. They should arrive in 2 days. I let you guys out because I have something to ask you. What were you thinking before you were turned into puppets by the magical stones and your consciousness was sealed? Yun Jioga asked. Thinking about what? Little Blossom smiled bitterly. I was thinking about what would happen to my people if I died. I haven't left the tribe leader's keepsake. What about you? Yun Jioga looked at Big Ear. I just want to go back alive and take them far away from the divine messenger, Big Ear said. As expected. Big Ear and Little Blossom's words confirmed his guess. It was the power of the guardian that awakened them. Miss Yun, did you let us out because you found a way to get rid of the demonic chi? Little Blossom asked hopefully. Chapter 528. Not yet, the demonic energy in your bodies is too deep. It'll take a long time to get rid of it. Yun Jioga felt that the most important thing now was to find a way to awaken the golden light for the beastmen. It's okay, we can wait. Little Blossom was a little disappointed, but there was hope as long as they were alive. I can't let you out yet. I'll let you see your people when they come back. Just bear with it. Yun Jioga extinguished the golden light on Little Blossom and Big Ear. He put them back into the spirit beast bag and left the dungeon. As soon as she reached the surface, she saw Zishang leaning against the door. He looked at her with a smirk. Didn't you say that you can't experiment until you're sure? Why are you messing around now? Who said I'm messing around? I have evidence. Zhenglai, have you completed your mission? Yun Jioga asked. Of course, all the tribes that the Eagle Men can find are migrating to Cloud City. Yin Shirley and Fei Fei have to hurry, or else there won't be enough people to live in. Zishang had used many methods to complete his mission quickly. Fortunately, it was very effective. How many tribes did you bring back? Yun Jioga asked in shock. Not many, just 10 tribes. About 2,000 people. If he could use his demon power, he could have brought them over with one heaven and earth shift. They wouldn't have to go through so much trouble to migrate. Nangong Yu and Cho Sen aren't doing anything? Yun Jioga found it strange. Those two weren't easy to deal with. They probably want to kill us all, so you have to hurry. The beastmen must awaken as soon as possible. Otherwise they'll be faced with a disaster. Zishang's expression turned serious. They didn't have much time left. Don't worry, I already know the real way to awaken the beastmen. Yun Jioga told him about Aunt Gaga. What gives them power isn't pain but hope. Only beastmen with a desire to protect can awaken. Then what are you waiting for? If the illusion isn't enough, I can help. Setting up a formation was a piece of cake for Zishang. No, I'm still waiting for a conclusion. Yun Jioga shook his head. Awakening the golden light was no small matter. It couldn't be rushed. What conclusion are you waiting for? Zishang felt that Yun Jioga was being too cautious. There were so many beastmen, and being able to awaken 1 out of 100 was already a good deal. This conclusion is very important. I can't explain it to you. Come with me. Yun Jioga pulled Zishang's hand and led him to the resting area next to the prison cell. Military counselor and Meng were standing in front of Aunt Gaga's bed. When they saw Yun Jioga and Zishang coming in, they hurried over to welcome them. How is Aunt Gaga? Yun Jioga asked. He hasn't woken up yet. The military counselor shook his head. Yun Jioga opened his spirit eye and looked at Aunt Gaga's knowledge sea. He was surprised to find that her divine sense was calm, as if she had already fulfilled her wish and had nothing to worry about. This was the prelude to death. Meng, hurry up and bring those sick little Nagas over, Yun Jioga hastily instructed. Yes. Meng quickly brought the little snake man over. After the death aura was removed, the little Naga recovered quite well. All of them were white and plump, and their tails were thick and strong. They were much taller than before, and when they saw Yun Jioga, they bowed respectfully. I have a task for you. If anyone can wake Aunt Gaga up, I will reward them with a cherry candy. Yun Jioga poured a cherry pill into his palm. The red pill emitted a sweet aroma, which was very tempting to these little whelps. How should we wake her? The little Naga with black and white tails asked bravely. Whatever method you use, Yun Jioga said. Aunt Gaga's heart was protecting Hope, the children of the Naga tribe. Whether or not they could wake her up depended on these little whelps. 5 little Nagas immediately jumped onto Aunt Gaga's body and shouted. They pulled on her ears and scales, displaying the demeanor of naughty children. What the hell are you doing? Zishang frowned. He thought Yun Jioga had something good, but it turned out to be an old Naga. Yun Jioga saw the impatience in Zishang's eyes and knew that if he did not explain clearly, Zishang would explode. Come here. Yun Jioga brought Zishang to a corner and said in a low voice, I want to know what's the difference between Aunt Gaga's golden light and other orcs. Isn't it fine as long as it's golden light? Zishang raised his eyebrows. Of course not. Have you forgotten Aze and Dummy? Yun Jioga glared at Zishang. Aze awakened the golden light and became a lunatic, while Dummy became a fool. Dummy became a fool after traveling through space, Zishang corrected. He wasn't much better before he became a fool, Yun Jioga said. According to Yun Jioga's understanding, Dummy was not only a troublemaker in the Eagle tribe, but also in other tribes, which meant that his mental condition was unstable. What about the Rabbit tribe? Zishang raised his eyebrows. Although the Rabbit tribe was a little neurotic, it was still normal. They are herbivores. Although they are mentally stable, their bodies are too weak. They can only use the golden light when they turn into rabbits. Their attack power is too low. Seeing Zishang's disapproving look, Yun Jioga changed the topic. Are you willing to lead the Rabbit tribe to attack Grey Castle? No, I'm not. Zishang imagined himself leading a group of big white rabbits. He got goosebumps, but he didn't give up. Don't we still have Demeng and Maya? They're not bad. Demeng and Maya are strong, so they're mentally unstable. Demeng is too impulsive. He won't fight for no reason. Maya's too calm. It doesn't matter if she doesn't speak for 3 days. In Yun Jioga's eyes, they were abnormal. As long as they can fight. What does it matter if they're normal or not? Zishang frowned. He had ways to teach them a lesson. It's fine if there's no other choice, but I already know how to make them awaken the golden light normally. Of course, I have to choose the right one, Yun Jioga said grumpily. According to her observations and experiments, normal orcs were mentally unstable because the golden light was awakened in their brains. However, Little Flower, Big Ear and Aunt Gaga were awakened in their hearts, ears and tails. The only thing they had in common was that they were both corrupted by demonic aura. Therefore, Yun Jioga wanted to wait for Aunt Gaga to wake up. She wanted to know if the golden light would be stronger and more stable after being corrupted by demonic aura. If that was true, then the orc's evolution direction would be clearer. Since you already have a way, do it quickly. Zishang frowned even more. Yun Jioga thought too much of the orcs. It was a waste of time to think about it. If it were him, he would do it as soon as he thought of a way. If he failed, he could just start all over again. Chapter 529. I really can't talk to you. Yun Jioga raised her eyebrows angrily. Just as she was about to lose her temper, Meng walked out of the house with a joyful expression and said, Miss Yun, Aunt Gaga is awake. Yun Jioga glared at Zishang and followed Meng in. The 5 little Nagas had tears on their chubby faces and were sobbing. Auntie, I thought you were dead. Hey, good kids, don't cry. Aunt Gaga hugged the 5 little Nagas and coaxed them. Aunt Gaga is going to plant Gaga grass for you now. I'll plant a lot of it so that you can eat as much as you want. Aunt Gaga, we don't eat Gaga grass anymore. We eat grass rice and grass potatoes now. The little Naga wiped her tears and took out a round potato from the animal skin bag she carried on her back. She handed it to Aunt Gaga and said, This is for you. Me too, me too. The other little Nagas also offered their treasures. Auntie is not hungry. Eat it yourselves. Aunt Gaga's eyes were kind. She had never laid a living egg in her life and treated the little ones in her tribe as her own. It was good enough that the children remembered her. How could they bear to eat their precious food? And they were all full. The little Nagas patted their bulging bellies. The Naga tribe was the first to plant grass and eat a lot. They had a lot of food, so they ate their fill every day. Auntie, things are different now. I'll bring you out later and you'll understand. Meng laughed. Is that so? Aunt Gaga's memory was still stuck in the past. Back then, the Naga tribe had to risk their lives just to get a bite of food. Of course it's true. All of this is thanks to the great Lady Yun and Lord Yizi. They brought hope to our Beastmen tribe. Meng bowed respectfully to Yun Jioga and Zishang as he spoke. Aunt Gaga then realized that there were 2 people standing in the house. Their appearance and temperament were completely different from the Beastmen. Although she did not know what had happened, they must be great people since the tribe leader respected them so much. Aunt Gaga got down from the bed and bowed to Yun Jioga and Zishang like the tribe leader. Meng, you're in charge of testing her abilities. Zishang walked in with a cold expression. Sir, may I know how to test this? He was just an ordinary orc. How would he know how to test Aunt Gaga's golden light? Take her to the plantation for a walk. Yun Jioga recalled Aunt Gaga's appearance when she awakened the golden light and felt that she must have awakened this ability. Yes. Meng immediately led Aunt Gaga, who was still confused, to the farm. The 5 little Nagas followed behind them excitedly. The military counselor walked to Yun Jioga's side and hesitated to speak, but Zishang interrupted him. Talk less. Get to work. After saying that, he pulled Yun Jioga out, not giving the military counselor a chance to speak. A group of people arrived at the plantation. Aunt Gaga stared at the majestic city wall in front of her and ate the golden grass. She was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. The 5 little snake people surrounded her and excitedly explained all the changes, chattering happily. Apart from the territories of the Eaglemen, Nagas, Centaurs, Cowmen and Rabbitmen, there were 12 other territories that were empty. Auntie, these territories are for other orcs. Winter is coming soon and we have to plant enough food to save more orcs. I'll leave this task to you, Yun Jioga said to Aunt Gaga as he took out a big bag of grass and rice. How do I plant this? Aunt Gaga was a little flustered. She had only planted Gaga grass in her life and had never planted anything else. Just plant it like you plant Gaga grass. Yun Jioga randomly picked an empty space and looked at Aunt Gaga encouragingly. Go ahead. I'll give it a try. Aunt Gaga carefully took the seeds of the grass. They were yellow rice grains and there were thousands of them. She felt a sense of mission when she thought about the grass that would save the orcs. The yellowish-brown snake tail emitted a faint golden light and seeped into the ground. As she moved, she scattered the seeds on the ground. The yellowish-brown rice grains took root and sprouted as soon as they touched the ground. The yellow grass followed her footsteps. Aunt Gaga had a satisfied smile on her face as she walked to the side of the wide empty space. The brown empty space was soon covered by the yellow grass. So many big grass. The little snake people followed Aunt Gaga happily and began to scream and play. Oh my God. Meng looked at Aunt Gaga in disbelief. When Aunt Gaga had awakened, he was only happy that Yun Jioga had saved her. Now that Aunt Gaga had performed such a miracle in front of him, it was undoubtedly due to Yun Jioga's efforts. He turned to look at Yun Jioga and wanted to kneel down and worship her. Unfortunately, Yun Jioga did not have time to care about him. She was busy using her spiritual eye to observe Aunt Gaga's movements. How is it? Is this normal? Zishang took the initiative to talk. I was right. Aunt Gaga's sea of consciousness is calm and full of joy. The golden light mainly moves around the snake's tail. It rarely returns to the sea of consciousness. Yun-jyoga closed her spiritual eye in satisfaction. She did not mind the argument with Zishang. I thought the demonic energy would be a disaster for these beastmen. I didn't expect it to be the beginning of a transformation. I wonder if Nangongyu and Chosun know about this? Zishang pondered. If they knew, they wouldn't have locked them up to drink blood. Yun-jyoga said with certainty. With Chosun's personality, if he knew that beastmen could automatically awaken the golden light, he would definitely keep them in captivity and slowly slaughter them. It seems like we have taken the initiative. After being in the secret territory for so long, Zishang finally felt a sense of achievement. You still dare to complain that I am too long-winded? Yun-jyoga glared at Zishang. This impatient guy only wanted to reach the heavens in a single step. If they did as he said, they would only get a bunch of crazy people. Goddess is wise. Zishang tactfully admitted his mistake. Stop flattering me. Hurry up and help me set up an illusion array. Yun-jyoga rubbed her palms together. She was ready to go all out. Zishang cooperated with Yun-jyoga and set up the dungeon again. They set up 2 more 9 Hell-in reversal arrays. That way they could put in a large number of beastmen for experiments. Actually, it would be safer to make a few more examples. Yun-jyoga said regretfully. Although Aunt Gaga had succeeded, it was better to make a few more out of caution. The process of awakening the golden light after being infected by the demonic energy had a certain degree of risk. If the serpent men did not have Aunt Gaga's firm belief, they could easily be devoured. There is no time. The most they will do is turn them stupid. If they cannot awaken, they will die. This batch of beastmen will finish migrating in half a month. I'm afraid Chosun cannot wait that long. Zishang mercilessly shattered Yun-jyoga's fantasy. Chapter 530. You've done well. Let the orcs work hard for the rest. Zishang pulled Yun-jyoga into his arms and kissed her forehead gently. Okay. Yun-jyoga smelled the faint fragrance on Zishang's body. Her depressed mood was instantly lifted. She immediately returned to the treatment room and workroom that Ian Shirley had helped her build in the back mountain. He picked up his brush and quickly drew up a plan for the orcs' awakening. Then he called the military counselor over. I thought you would awaken the guards first. The military counselor was surprised to see Yun-jyoga's awakening plan. After all, the guards were powerful warriors, so they had a higher chance of awakening. No, according to the experience of the rabbit tribe, as long as one of the golden orcs awakens, the others will awaken safely as long as they guide them properly. Therefore, Yun-jyoga's awakening plan was not based on the number of people, but the races. The first was the Naga. Aunt Gaga was a strong-willed guide. With her around, the Naga would definitely awaken smoothly. Miss Yun, which race will the Naga join after the awakening? The military counselor asked carefully. The Eagle Men, of course. Yun-jyoga did not seem to notice the military counselor's thoughts. The Eagle Men and the Naga were the first tribes to rely on her. They often competed with each other. Yun-jyoga thought it was good since there was competition. Thank you, Miss Yun. The Eagle Men won't let you down. The military counselor heaved a sigh of relief and prepared everything for Yun-jyoga. If the Naga could awaken successfully, the Eagle Men would learn from them. Yun-jyoga's plan was to let the Naga drink the water of magical stone first. After the demonic energy invaded them, they would enter the illusion under Aunt Gaga's guidance to defeat themselves. After learning about the plan, they were so excited that they could not sleep for a few days. They instructed the entire tribe to cherish this rare opportunity and strive to awaken and surpass the Eagle Men. Of course, this slogan was only used internally. They did not dare to leak it in front of the Eagle Men. On the day of the plan, all the Naga gathered at the back mountain and lined up, waiting for Aunt Gaga to distribute the water of magical stone. The 5 little Nagas also came to join in the fun. They followed Aunt Gaga and busied themselves around like little helpers. Are these kids going to the dungeon with the adults? The military counselor looked at the happy little Naga worriedly. Speaking of which, these little Nagas and their Eagle Men were the first to be infected by the demonic aura. Yun-jyoga shook his head. We don't need them for now. We'll talk about it later. The little Eagle Man and the little Naga had only removed the death chi from their bodies. There was still some demonic chi left in their bodies. If they wanted to completely awaken, they could only rely on the golden light. But they were too young, so they might not be able to withstand the torment of the illusion. After drinking the demonic chi water, the Naga tribe entered the dungeon valiantly under Aunt Gaga's lead. The awakening experiment was undoubtedly a success. All the Nagas had awakened golden light, but the intensity of the light was different. The abilities they displayed were also different. Similar to Aunt Gaga, the female Nagas displayed the ability to plant plants. The male Naga, on the other hand, was just like Meng, displaying extremely powerful attacks. This was especially true for Meng, whose fangs and tail had awakened a golden light. His speed and strength had increased, and he could smash a boulder as tall as a small mountain with a swing of his tail. However, what surprised Yunjoga the most was that there were a few skinny female Naga beastmen who had awakened special abilities. It was a very small green snake species. They were extremely fast after transforming into their original form, and their venom was very strong. They were experts at assassination. These awakened Nagas were taken away by Zishang. The females were taken to farm, while the males were sent to guard the small mountain in the city. Next, Yunjoga began the awakening of the Eagle Men. She released Ash, who had been kept away all this while. The demonic aura on Ahui was a bit heavy. Yunjoga was worried that he wouldn't be able to awaken, so she asked the military counselor to bring Ashui over and let him stay with his father and talk more. She hoped that the power of kinship could help him get through the secret realm. After making arrangements for Ahui, Yunjoga called Aze to her newly built treatment room in the back mountain. Miss Yun. Aze lowered his head, not daring to look at Yunjoga. I heard you've recovered a long time ago. Why didn't you come find me? Yunjoga asked Aze while carving runes on spirit stones. I don't have the face to see you. Aze was afraid that he would be seen as a crazy bird if he walked out, so he had been hiding in his nest. It wasn't your fault for going crazy last time. I've already found a solution for you. Yunjoga put down the spirit stones and looked at Aze. Do you trust me? Of course I trust you. Aze immediately looked up. He almost swore to the heavens. If you trust me, then lie on the stone bed over there. I'll extract the golden light from your brain later. The process is very simple, but you might lose a part of your memory. Only by removing the golden light from Aze's brain and making him awaken again would he not lose control and become crazy. I won't become an idiot, will I? Aze's face paled at the thought of the prince's stupidity. That won't happen. At most you'll forget the past. Aze had always been brooding over his brother's death. What Yunjoga needed to do was to remove this part of his memory. Okay, then do it. Aze immediately lay down on the stone bed. Relax and breathe. You'll be fine soon. Yunjoga's voice was soft. While Aze was relaxing, she stabbed the lightning fire needle into his sleep acupuncture point. Aze's head tilted and he fell asleep. Yunjoga used her divine power to ignite the golden light in his brain. Then, she carefully extracted it and put it into a bottle of spirit condensation. Why are you keeping his golden light? Zishang's voice suddenly sounded. Yunjoga almost knocked the bottle over. Can't you knock when you come in? What if she made a sound when she extracted the golden light and Aze became an idiot? Who knew you were so cowardly? Zishang walked over to Yunjoga and looked at the bottle in her hand. You haven't answered my question. I plan to put Aze's golden light into Little Blossom and Big Ear's bodies to see if it can save them, Yunjoga said. It was like a blood transfusion. The golden light that Little Blossom and Big Ear awakened wasn't enough to expel the demonic chi. Then she would put in some golden light to see if it could strengthen them. Aren't you afraid they'll suck Aze's golden light and become crazy? Zishang raised his eyebrows. The golden light itself is good. It's just that Aze's brain can't control it. Plus, Little Blossom and Big Ear didn't awaken in the brain. They'll be fine. Yunjoga lowered her head and engraved Aze's golden light on the bottle. You really know how to make trouble. Zishang shook his head. Those poison beastmen were already abandoned in his heart. Only Yunjoga would think of a way to save them. Chapter 531. What do you know? Every time I mess with the golden light, I learn more about it. It's very useful for finding the origin of the golden light. Yunjoga didn't forget that she studied the orc's golden light to find the origin and strengthen her divine power. You're worth teaching. Zishang patted Yunjoga's head. Why aren't you busy with building the city? Why are you here? Yunjoga slapped Zishang's hand away. She wasn't a child. Why was he patting her head? If she was still a goddess in the divine palace, Zishang's behavior was enough to be considered disrespectful. I went to the Death Swamp yesterday. Grey Castle is moving. I suspect Cho Sun will attack us in advance. Zishang's face turned serious. Are you sure you can defend Yun City? Yunjoga frowned. The city was filled with ordinary orcs. She could only rely on Zishang and Ian Shirley to defend. Just based on Ian Shirley and me, we can't defend it forever. You have to hurry up. Zishang was here to urge her. I was planning to awaken the eagle people tomorrow. Now that you mention it, we have to start tonight. Yun Jioga sighed. She didn't like the feeling of being rushed at all. Doing research required slow work in order to produce fine results. Okay, I'll inform the advisor now. Zishang kissed Yun Jioga comfortingly. Go. Yun Jioga waved Zishang away and woke Zhe up with a needle. Zhe got up in a daze and asked Yun Jioga, Miss Yun, why am I lying here? How many is this? Yun Jioga waved 3 fingers in front of Zhe. This is 3, Zhe answered honestly. Go find the advisor. He will tell you why you're here. Yun Jioga's every cell was screaming for her to be busy. She really didn't have time to explain too much to Zhe. Oh. Zhe scratched his head and walked out in a daze. The advisor soon brought the eagle people over. He asked Yun Jioga excitedly and nervously, Miss Yun, Master Yi Zi said we're going to awaken tonight. Is it true? That's right. Take this magic stone and soak it in water. Everyone drink a bowl of it and then go to the dungeon. Yun Jioga threw a gray magic stone to the military counselor and took out a booklet to write a plan. After the eagle men awakened, it was the bulls and centaurs' turn. Currently, none of these 2 races had awakened the golden light, so they couldn't follow the same steps as the Nagas and eagle men. They had to first test and choose the beast men with the strongest protectiveness of their tribe, and then use that to awaken the other tribesmen. The military counselor took the magic stone and looked at Yun Jioga hesitantly. In the end, he couldn't help but ask, Miss Yun, can my grandfather awaken with us? If Grandpa could also awaken the golden light, he might be able to live longer. No. Yun Jioga put down the plan in his hands and looked up at the military counselor. He said seriously, awakening the golden light consumes a lot of energy and mental strength. Elder Bai, who is about to die of old age, entering it is tantamount to suicide. I understand. I'm sorry to disturb you. I'll go and prepare now. Although the military counselor was sad, he forced himself to smile and left with the magic stone. Yun Jioga was really worried when he saw the military counselor like this, so he took the plan to the small dark room in the dungeon and personally watched over them. The eagle men were all excited when they saw Yun Jioga personally coming. The eagle men were divided into 2 groups and entered the dungeon illusion. The first group was led by Zhe, which included Hui, Gu and other eagle men with normal physiques. When the illusion started, Hui was the first to awaken. The golden light spread from his wings and expelled all the demonic energy in his body. Yun Jioga couldn't help but nod after seeing this. The company of family could indeed strengthen the protectiveness of the tribe. Zhe was the second to awaken. His wings were shining with golden light and looked extremely powerful. Gu was next. This kid was probably ready to become a father. His protectiveness was very strong. Other than his wings, his abdomen was also awakened with golden light. The other eagle men also awakened one after another. All of their wings were glowing. The stronger eaglemen's wings were brighter while the weaker ones were dimmer. However, it was the best outcome for all of them to awaken. The awakened eagle men were automatically ejected from the illusion. The military counselor and Fei guarded outside and pulled them to the resting room next to the dungeon. Soon the first group of eagle men all left the illusion. The military counselor, Fei, Ping, and the other young and strong eagle men were the second group. This group of strong eagle men awakened even faster. The golden light on their wings was also very dense. They would definitely be very strong after transforming. The military counselor's awakening was also very smooth. First his wings, then his chest. The light was even more intense than Gu's. However, this was very normal. The military counselor had always been in charge of the tribe with Elder Bai. His protectiveness was the strongest, so he naturally awakened the most. Yun Jioga was just about to close the illusion when she saw the military counselor's face suddenly turn pale. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, a golden light burst out from his head, and he was ejected from the illusion. It happened too suddenly. Yun Jioga didn't even see how the military counselor flew out. She quickly left the dungeon and saw a group of eagle men surrounding the military counselor at the foot of the mountain. Military counselor, are you okay? Zhe patted the military counselor's face nervously, almost causing it to swell. Miss Yun is here. Everyone move away. Gu saw Yun Jioga coming over and quickly let her come closer. Miss Yun, what happened to the military counselor? Why did he spit blood? Zhe's face was full of panic. The military counselor was recognized as an elite in the tribe. The awakening should have been very smooth. Why did he spit blood instead? He has awakened too many parts. He's too strong, so he spat blood. Don't worry. Yun Jioga comforted the eagle men while using her spirit eye to check on the military counselor. The golden light on the military counselor's wings and chest were very stable. The color was bright yellow, but there was a thumb-sized golden ball spinning in his head. This ball of golden light was not as dense and pure as Dummy's, nor was it as violent as Aze's. It was something Yun Jioga had never seen before. What happened? Zishang had just finished building the city. As soon as he came over, he saw Yun Jioga frowning in puzzlement. There's a small problem with the awakening of the military counselor. Yun Jioga told him what happened and said in annoyance, I wonder what's with the golden light in his head. Don't worry. You'll know when he wakes up. Zishang looked up at the surrounding eagle men and asked, all awakened? Master Yi Zi, all the eagle men have successfully awakened. All the eagle men stood in front of Zishang with their chests puffed out. Then follow me. Zishang took all the eagle men away with one sentence, leaving only the military counselor lying on the ground. Yun Jioga had no choice but to let De Meng send the military counselor to Elder Bai and inform her when he woke up. After De Meng carried the military counselor away, Yun Jioga continued with the awakening plan. Not long later, Zishang returned alone. Chapter 532. Where are Agu and the others? Yun Jioga glanced at the sky. Not a single eagle men had appeared. I sent them to patrol. These eagle men are not bad. Zishang had just tested it. After awakening the golden light, not only could the eagle men successfully transform into beast form, but their speed and strength had also greatly increased. At the same time, Argus, who had awakened 2 body parts, could also spit out wind blades. He organized the eagle men into an air force. Some of them were responsible for patrolling the airspace of Cloud City, and some of them left Cloud City to check on the situation of the migrating orcs and help them reach Cloud City as soon as possible. I plan to have the rabbit men patrol the inner city. What do you think? Yun Jioga asked. Currently, the eagle men were responsible for defending the outside while the serpent men were defending the small mountain. The inner city was a little empty. The rabbit men are very disciplined. They are very suitable to be patrol soldiers. Zishang nodded. No matter what, the rabbit men were still golden light beast men. It would be a waste for them to stay in their territory and plant crops every day. I'm also going to set up a farming team with Aunt Gaga as the leader. They'll be responsible for helping the orcs grow food. Yun Jioga added a farming team to the list and then wrote down a healing team. However, it was still empty at the moment, and he would have to wait and see when the orcs could awaken this ability. These are all small problems. What I'm more curious about now is what happened to the military counselor's brain. Zishang stroked his chin. Military counselor was usually very good at thinking. Now that his head had awakened with golden light, he had a feeling that he would bring surprises. I'm curious too, but we should have an answer tomorrow. Yun Jioga scribbled and wrote down the construction team, logistics team, guard team, and other projects on the schedule. Alright, stop writing. Zishang took the booklet from Yun Jioga's hand and said forcefully, It's already late at night, you should sleep. I haven't finished writing yet. Yun Jioga's head is full of plans and he wants to write them out quickly. Sleep. Zishang carried Yun Jioga in his arms and threw him onto the bed before pinning him down. Didn't you say that time is tight and the mission is heavy? Why are you still in the mood to think about this? Yun Jioga glared at Zishang, wanting to kick him off the bed. I just want to sleep. Is your thoughts too evil or do you want it? Zishang placed his hand on Yun Jioga's stomach. No. Yun Jioga's expression was cold. Only when one was full and warm would one think of lust. She really wasn't in the mood right now. Then let's go to sleep. We still have work to do tomorrow. Zishang's voice was gentle as his warm hands gently rubbed Yun Jioga's abdomen, spreading warmth throughout her entire body. Yun Jioga slowly closed his eyes and soon fell asleep. After seeing that Yun Jioga had fallen asleep, Zishang picked up the schedule and continued to fill in the blanks. When Yun Jioga woke up, Zishang was no longer in the room. There was a yellow booklet on the wooden table, and the plan inside was already filled in. It was even more complete than what she had imagined before. Yun Jioga flipped through it and was very satisfied. He took the schedule and went out. Just as he was about to call Elder Bai and Meng over for a discussion, he heard that the military advisor had woken up. Military counselor's brain had awakened another type of power, the spirit element. Not only did he have an eidetic memory, but he could also sense other people's emotional fluctuations and even control weak-willed people. That's a pretty good ability. There's a position that suits you the best right now. After Zishang heard about the military advisor's awakened ability, he immediately arranged for him to receive the migrating orcs into the city. Now many orcs were migrating to Cloud City every day. Apart from the tribes that the Eagle Men had found themselves, there were also many tribes that came alone after hearing the news. These orc tribes that migrated alone without any food support were very miserable and pitiful. Their faces were sallow and they were skinny. The old, weak, women and children fell sick as soon as they entered Cloud City. Military Counselor was almost going crazy. He led the centaurs in charge of registering them, arranging territories and food, and also arranging other places for those who fell sick. Those who were simply sick lived in the plantation, and those who were infected by the demonic energy were arranged to stay in the prison at the back of the mountain. They were also divided according to the degree of infection. Now, the large prison at the back of the mountain was occupied by the gnolls, and the middle prison was occupied by orcs who were infected by the demonic energy but had no way to awaken. These orcs had to wait for Yunjioga to finish her work before they had time to find a solution. Zishang was also very busy. He grabbed Ian Shirley to do construction every day. Cloud City was changing every day. Cannons rose one after another on the city walls, and a solemn atmosphere filled the entire Cloud City. Even the most naive children knew that war was coming. They no longer ran around and played. Every day they followed the adults of their tribes and prepared to fight for food. The plan to awaken orcs had been carried out according to plan. Currently it was arranged according to the order of entering the city. The centaurs and bull people had successfully awakened. The golden light was awakened in the legs and horns respectively. They were all classified as combat troops by Zishang. According to Yunjioga's plan, they should go to the wild boar tribe next. At this time, Aze brought a fox youth to see her. "Lady Yun, this is Asang. He said he has something to report to you," Aze said. This youth was very beautiful. His skin was white and his facial features were exquisite. His eyes were arched upwards and he dragged a big fluffy brown tail behind him. As soon as he saw Yunjioga come out, he got up and placed his right hand on his chest. He bowed respectfully. "Honorable Lady Yun, thank you for providing food and a place for my people. I will forever be loyal to you on behalf of the Fox tribe. I accept the friendship of the Fox tribe." Yunjioga nodded with a reserved and noble smile. After sitting down, she asked Asang, "May I know why you're looking for me? I heard that Lady Yun is forming a medical team. The Golden Light Orcs of our Fox tribe just happen to have special medical abilities," Asang said proudly. "Your Fox tribe knows how to heal?" Yunjioga was shocked. She thought the Fox tribe would be better at illusions. "Yes, our Fox tribe is proficient in all herbs in the secret realm. We've developed countless medicines that are very effective against all sorts of illnesses of the orcs," Asang said passionately. "Wait." Yunjioga stopped Asang and asked in confusion, "After the black rain, most of the plants died. What else is there other than the big jade grass that can stop bleeding?" "That's right. After the black rain, only the big jade grass is left. Our Fox tribe has more than 10 prescriptions for it," Asang said. "These prescriptions should only have the ability to stop bleeding, right?" Yunjioga felt that Asang was tricking her. "Yes." Asang's expression didn't change even after being exposed by Yunjioga. She continued, "Actually, the healing abilities of the orcs are very strong. The ones that really can't heal are the mental injuries. Our Fox tribe's golden light ability has a special effect on this. It can alleviate all their illnesses and achieve rapid healing." Chapter 533. At the end of the day, your Fox clan is actually best at creating illusions. Yunjioga saw that Asang still wanted to explain, so he stopped him. "Actually, I need your ability now. You don't have to go to the medical team. Tell me, how many golden beast men have awakened in your Fox clan?" "I'm the only one right now." Asang finally looked a little nervous. During his time in Cloud City, he had already found out that this legendary Lady Yun had the ability to awaken the entire tribe with golden light. According to the order in which they entered the city, there were still a few tribes before the Fox clan. Seeing that the war was coming, he was afraid that his clansmen wouldn't be able to wait for the arrangements and would run over to recommend themselves. "Show me your ability," Yunjioga said casually. "Yes." Asang stood up, his eyes flashing with determination. The tribe's development depended on this, so he couldn't make any mistakes. Asang exhaled softly, then closed his eyes and waved his hands gently. Rays of golden light spread out, and the entire room rippled like water. Yunjioga blinked and found himself standing in the middle of a vast wilderness. Above him was the dark sky, and beneath his feet was the dry and cracked brown ground. The wind that blew against his face carried a bitter and fishy smell. It felt very real. Not far away, there was a skinny cicada looking for food in the withered grass. When it noticed Yunjioga's gaze, it immediately fled in panic. However, it didn't run for long before it fell to the ground and died. Although Yunjioga knew that everything in front of him was an illusion, he still felt very sad. This was the true portrayal of an arcane realm, despair and death. This little fox's ability isn't bad. I want her. Zishang's voice suddenly sounded in Yunjioga's ears. The water ripples faded and everything returned to normal. Asang stood in the middle of the hall, his fair forehead covered in cold sweat. He looked at Zishang, who had suddenly appeared, in awe and fear. He had heard that Lady Yun had a very powerful naga with her, but he thought it was a reckless martial artist. He didn't expect it to be so powerful that it could break through his illusion with just one sentence. Asang's originally somewhat smug mood immediately vanished. It's not good to cut in line. Yunjioga shook his head. She didn't mind opening a back door. After all, this was an ability that she desperately needed. But illusions and whatnot. With the illusory realm created by the Foxmen, not only will it increase the speed of the Orc's awakening, but it will also increase the defensive ability of Cloud City. It's killing two birds with one stone. Zishang revealed a determined look. All right. Yunjioga was defeated by his gaze. He turned to Asang and said, "Go back and let your people rest. Tomorrow, Aze will take you to the back mountain to prepare for the awakening." "Yes, thank you, Miss Yun. Thank you, Lord Yizi." Asang was overjoyed. He hammered his chest and left. "You're in urgent need of healing beasts. You should ask the military advisor to help you filter them out," Zishang said. "I've already told him to keep an eye on them, but they're all boars, bearmen and ape-men." Yunjioga went through the orc tribes that had recently sought refuge with them. Then he noticed a big problem. Why aren't there any leopard men or lizard men? When she returned from Grey Castle that day, she immediately asked the eagle men to bring Little Blossom and Big Ears tokens to the leopard men and lizard men. Logically speaking, they should have reached Cloud City. Ask the military advisor. Zishang asked Aze to inform the military advisor to come over immediately. The military advisor soon arrived. After hearing Yunjioga's question, he replied, "Ah Fei and Ah Ping left 5 days ago. The tokens have been successfully sent to the leopard men and lizard men. They also drew a map and left food. The leopard men and lizard men should be able to reach Cloud City smoothly. Something must have happened if they haven't arrived yet. Immediately send 2 eagle men to find them. You must bring them to Cloud City safely," Yunjioga ordered seriously. She had already done a test. Little Blossom could indeed absorb Aze's golden light, but the amount was too little to dispel the demonic aura. She originally wanted to wait for the leopard men and lizard men to awaken their golden light so that they could donate it to save Little Blossom and Big Ear. "Yes, I will immediately send Ah Fei and Ah Ping to find them. I will give you an answer tonight." The military advisor immediately recorded everything on a small notebook that he carried with him. He had been so busy recently that even his eidetic memory could not cope with it. In the end, it was Yunjioga who gave him a pile of blank notebooks and told him to write everything down with a pen. Otherwise, it was very likely that he would collapse from overworking his brain. "Go. By the way, move the awakening of the boar people to tomorrow afternoon. I will first awaken the Foxmen tomorrow morning," Yunjioga ordered. "The Foxmen's awakening should be ranked 15th. What's so special about them that you can help them awaken in advance?" the military advisor asked while recording. Yizi said that the Foxman's ability to create illusions is very useful to him. It can also increase the speed at which the orcs awaken, so he gave them priority. Yunjioga explained briefly and continued, "Ask the Golden Light orcs that have recently joined Yun City what abilities they have. If they have healing abilities, they will be given priority." "I got it, but the Golden Light beastmen that joined recently are very well hidden. None of them are willing to expose their identities. They should change their minds after the Foxman tribe's matter spreads." The military advisor wrote at a rapid speed and added a few more details. Then spread the news about the Foxmen more. Yunjioga could actually understand why these Golden Light orcs hid their identity. They were afraid of being chosen as cannon fodder and even more afraid of being captured for research. Under such circumstances, Asang was very bold and confident to take the initiative to promote himself. "I understand. I will immediately get Auntie Gaga to be in charge of spreading the news." After the military advisor finished writing, he asked, "Do you have any other orders?" "I don't. What about you?" Yun Jioge looked at Zishang. I will handle the leopard men and lizard men myself. Tell Ah Fei and Ah Ping to find me later, Zishang said. You want to do it yourself? Yun Jioge was surprised. The construction of Cloud City was in a hurry. Zishang did not even have enough time to sleep every day. How could he be in the mood to care about these things? I suspect that they have been kidnapped by Grey Castle. Zishang did not care about the leopard men and lizard men. He only cared about the upcoming war. During this time he asked Ash and 4 Eagle men to take turns to monitor Grey Castle. He did not know whether the Eagle men did not have good eyesight or Grey Castle was too well hidden. All the information he received was that Grey Castle was as quiet as a dead city. Ash even wanted to sneak in to observe, but he was chased by magic stone arrows as soon as he flew into Grey Castle's territory. He almost lost his life. Under such circumstances, the disappearance of the leopard men and lizard men was a rare clue. Chapter 534. Do you mean that Grey Castle has another secret passage to leave the Death Swamp? Yun Jioge asked seriously. Yes. Zishang nodded. That was why he wanted to see it for himself. I'll go with you. Whether Cloud City could successfully take root in the secret realm depended on the battle with Grey Castle. She had to go. What about the awakening plan? Zishang did not want to take Yun Jioge. She couldn't allow those beastmen to take risks. It would be too restrictive. The awakening plan is on track. It's okay without me. She was not present when Centaur and Cowboy were awakened. Besides, don't you have the military counselor? Yun Jioge looked at the military counselor with a smile. Yes. The military counselor made another note in the booklet to supervise the awakening plan. Don't be too nervous. If anything happens, leave it to me. Seeing the military counselor frowning, Yun Jioge sympathized with him. But the more capable people did the more work. This kind of pressure was very important for his spiritual advancement. Don't worry. I'll arrange it. If there's nothing else, I'll go. The military counselor put away the booklet and flapped his wings to leave the room. His figure shuttled back and forth like lightning to deliver the task. You really want to go? Zishang did not give up and pulled Yun Jioge. I'm enough. Isn't it better for you to stay here and guard Cloud City? Why are you so nervous? Yun Jioge looked Zishang up and down and asked suspiciously. Are you hiding something from me? What shameful things can I hide from you? Zishang was speechless. He was going to investigate the situation in Grey Castle, not to have an affair. What was there to hide? Then why are you nervous? Yun Jioge rolled her eyes at Zishang and began to think about what to prepare. Zishang sighed helplessly and said in a negotiating tone, Well, you can come with me. But wait until the foxmen awaken tomorrow. Their ability will be very useful. The divine senses of those puppet orcs had been controlled by Cho Senator. The foxman's illusion could destroy this control. Okay. How about I awaken another gnoll? Yun Jioge thought that jackals had a keen sense of smell and were best at tracking and investigating. With them around, it would be easier for them to find clues about Grey Castle. The gnolls' heads and necks are blocked. It's too difficult to expel the demonic chi. Zishang frowned. He didn't have much time to wait. I only need to awaken one to lead the way. Yun Jioge had gained a lot from his research on the golden light. His biggest success was extracting the golden light from the blood samples of the orcs. As long as he buried it in the body of an ordinary orc, it would be safe for them to awaken. Give it a try then. Zishang knew that Yun Jioge loved to do research. As long as it did not affect the construction of Yunqing, he would not stop it. Help me pick one. Yun Jioge brought Zishang to the dungeon where the gnolls were imprisoned. This place was guarded by the oxmen. Although the gnolls had been controlled by the demonic chi, their bodies still had the instinct to eat. As long as the oxmen fed them on time and cleaned the cells regularly, they would be fine. This one. Zishang had his eyes on the gnoll leader. You really know how to stir up trouble for me. Yun Jioge sighed. The gnoll leader was the most demonic and the most difficult to expel. You were the one who asked me to pick one. Zishang shrugged. Rather than wasting time on a piece of trash, why don't we use a little more effort to awaken a capable one? Then I'll pick him. Yun Jioge felt that Zishang's words made sense. He carried the gnoll leader out of the dungeon. Immediately, a strange smell wafted out. The oxman only cleaned the dungeon, not the gnoll leader. After vomiting for so many days, it was only natural that he would stink. Clean him up and bring him to the infirmary, Zishang ordered the oxman in charge of the dungeon. Yes. The tall and strong oxman nodded solemnly. Together with the other gnolls on duty, They carefully scrubbed the knoll leader and brought him to Yunjioga. After being cleaned up, the knoll leader was quite handsome. His features were cold and deep. Coupled with his dusky eyes, he exuded an extremely sinister aura. Yunjioga took out the golden light blood seed that he had made. The bean-sized golden light blood seed glowed red. There seemed to be blood flowing faintly in it, and it exuded an extremely strong life force. If you bring this thing out, people will probably fight over it. Zishang took it and sniffed it. He found that it contained the light of life. If a mortal consumed it, it would increase their lifespan by 10 years. Of course, don't you know who made it? But in the end, the blood of these orcs is still the best. Although they can't cultivate, their life force is extremely strong. It's a great supplement for bloodthirsty demonic cultivators, Yunjioga said. These beastmen should be thankful that the one they encountered is you. If it were any other cultivator, they would have been concocted into blood pills long ago. Truth be told, even Zishang felt tempted by the thick and pure scent of blood. Other cultivators can't use their spiritual power here. They will only be torn to pieces by the orcs. If it weren't for the fact that she could use her divine power, she would have ended up in a miserable state. Nangongyu isn't torn to pieces. Also, I don't know what's going on with the golden core cultivators who came in through other means, Zishang said while squinting. Maybe they went to a different arcane realm than us, or maybe they're secretly plotting something. Yunjioga often thought about this question, but he could not think of a reason no matter how hard he thought about it. That's why we have to become stronger before they start their plot, Zishang said. Why do I feel like we're in danger every time you analyze the current situation? Why do I feel like time is tight? Yunjioga looked suspicious. Zishang must be doing this on purpose. You're right. Hurry up and wake this knoll up. We'll leave as soon as possible. Zishang patted Yunjioga's shoulder to show his encouragement. If it weren't for you, I would have called it a long time ago. Yunjioga grabbed the golden light blood seed and hit the knoll's left arm. The knoll looked like he was in pain. A faint red golden light spread from his arm to his heart. It began to fight the demonic chi. We can't go on like this. Yunjioga looked at the retreating golden light on the knoll's body and turned to Zishang. We have to get him into the dungeon to activate the illusion. It's too much to activate the Jiuyuan illusion for him alone. Get Aze to get that foxman called Asang to try. Zishang shook his head. They had brought limited spirit stones. They had to use them when it mattered. Okay, let him try. Yunjioga called Aze in and asked him to get Asang as soon as possible. Chapter 535. Aze came to the Foxman tribe's territory like lightning and brought Asang over. Asang didn't look too nervous. It was as if today's accident was within his expectations. There was no such thing as a free lunch. He knew the test wouldn't be this easy. However, when he walked into the treatment room and saw the knoll standing inside, he was still shocked. You know him? Yunjioga immediately caught Asang's expression. Amichim, his name is 8. He's the leader of the gnolls. Asang nodded and calmed down again. It's even better that you know each other. If you can help this gnoll awaken, your tribe will be able to successfully start the awakening plan tomorrow. If not, the Foxman tribe will leave Cloud City, Zishang said calmly. I'll try my best. Asang nodded and looked straight into the eyes of the leader of the gnolls. He shouted anxiously, 8, it's not good. Lilia is injured. Come and save her. Yunjioga couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he heard this. It seemed that Asang and 8 not only knew each other but were also very close. When 8 heard Asang's voice, a pained expression appeared on his face. The golden light on his body rose. 8, Lilia can't make it. You can only save her by awakening the golden light. Wake up, hurry. Asang's voice was getting more and more urgent. The golden light on his fingers moved slightly, and an illusion immediately enveloped 8's body. Lily, Lily. 8 squeezed out these 3 words. The golden light on his body exploded, and his arm turned into a huge claw that grabbed at Asang. Yunjioga reacted quickly and immediately pulled Asang to the side. 8's hand landed on the ground and smashed a big hole. He turned around and wanted to attack Yunjioga, but he was hit in the chest by Zishang. He spat out a mouthful of thick gray blood. Thank you, Miss Yun. Asang looked at 8 on the ground and let out a long sigh. Are you very close to him? Yunjioga asked. Amichim, our tribes are very close. When we were young, 8 often took us to play together. Asang nodded. There was a trace of nostalgia on his charming face. Who is this Lilia you mentioned? Yunjioga asked again. 8's little sister and my fiancée. Asang's expression was gloomy. Where is she now? Yun Jioga did not expect Ah Sang to have such a relationship with the gnolls. I don't know. Ah Sang looked confused and said, a year ago the Black Rain came again, and the Gnoll tribe was flooded in the lowlands. After the entire tribe migrated, no one knew where they went. I've been asking around for their whereabouts but I couldn't find them. Not long ago, I heard that the Lupus people had been corrupted by demonic energy and turned into puppets. Miss Yun, since you are willing to help 8 awaken, please save the Lupus people. Ah Sang pleaded. I awakened 8 because there is a quest that requires his ability. The gnolls did many bad things when they were controlled by the demonic energy. If he wants to save his people, he must first atone for his sins. He only needed one gnoll to search for clues about Grey Castle, so Yun Jioga did not want to waste time awakening other gnolls. 8 is a very responsible and good clan leader. What happened in the past was not his own intention. As long as he is given a chance, he will definitely try his best to make amends. Ah Sang quickly put in a good word for his good friend. It's not up to you to decide whether he will try his best or not. While Yun Jioga was speaking, Zishang had already woken 8 up. Where is this? What happened? 8 shook his head vigorously, his eyes full of confusion. When he saw Ah Sang, his face showed a surprised expression. Ah Sang, why are you here? Didn't your tribe go to the other side of the grassland? Arde, that was a long time ago. What about Lilia? Where is she? Ah Sang quickly asked. Lilia. 8 frowned painfully, and then his face became extremely ferocious. He gnashed his teeth and said, that damn oracle, she lied to us. I'm going to kill her. As he spoke, he was about to rush out of the door. Wait, tell me what happened. What did the oracle lie to you about? Yun Jioga blocked 8's way. Who are you? 8 looked at Yun Jioga vigilantly. His eyes instantly became frantic, and his arm once again turned into a huge claw and slashed at Yun Jioga. Calm down. She's your savior. Ah Sang hurriedly rushed over and hugged 8's arm. No, she must have been sent by the oracle. None of these humans from the outside are good people. They destroyed our home. I'm going to kill her. 8 roared. Ah Sang talked to him first. Come and find me when you've figured it out, Yun Jioga said coldly. She looked like she had a lot of things to do and was not interested in watching an orc go crazy. Yes, don't worry, Miss Yun. I'll definitely talk to him. Ah Sang pulled 8 with all her might, and even wrapped her tail tightly around him. Yun Jioga coldly left the treatment room with Zishang. As soon as the door closed, she immediately leaned against the wall to eavesdrop on what was going on inside. Zishang was speechless. He wanted to say something but Yun Jioga stopped him with a look. He could only sit by the side and eavesdrop with her. In the treatment room, Ah Sang's clear voice rang out. She explained the situation of the gnolls, Yun Jioga's background, and the current situation of Cloud City. Are you sure she's really here to help us? 8's voice also gradually calmed down. I'm not sure, but without her we would have starved to death. No matter what she wants to do with us, as long as our people can survive, we can only do as she says. Ah Sang's voice was full of helplessness. The situation in the arcane realm was already extremely bad. They had no other choice. You're right. As long as my people can survive, I'm willing to do anything. 8 clenched his arms tightly. He could feel a surge of power in his body. Not only did it help him escape from his previous muddle-headed state, but it also made him stronger. Based on this alone, this Miss Yun was much better than the oracle who only talked and did not do anything. 8. What happened to the gnolls after the Black Rain? What's the matter with the oracle? Ah Sang asked. The oracle is a big liar. 8 clenched his teeth and told the whole story. The Black Rain came too suddenly. After their tribe was submerged, they could only move higher up. Lilia was seriously injured while protecting a playful cub of her tribe during the migration. The aura of death spread throughout her body, and she was on the verge of death. Just then, their tribe met a woman and 3 men who came from the outside world. The woman called herself the Oracle, and said that she had a way to cure Lilia's injuries caused by the Black Rain. At that time he was already in a panic. He could only try his best and ask the Oracle for help. Chapter 536. Then was Lilia saved? Ah Sang asked nervously. She was saved. After the oracle saved Lilia, she gave us food and weapons as well as a god stone that can make the gaga grass grow better. Our tribe was doing well at first, until Lilia discovered that the oracle was arguing with her companions, and the argument was related to the gaga grass. Not long after, the 2 companions of the oracle disappeared, leaving behind a gloomy and cold man. Lilia told me that the oracle was very strange. She told us to give up on growing the gaga grass and plan our escape route. Not long after, she disappeared as well. I brought my tribesmen to capture the oracle, but my head suddenly exploded. Since then I've been searching for iron mines and rabbit men. When I woke up I was here. 8 held his head in pain and said, "It's all my fault. I was too careless to trust those outsiders." Not all outsiders are evil. Miss Yun is a rare good person. I believe that as long as we follow her, we will be able to find Lilia one day. Ah Sang patted 8's shoulder calmly. Hearing this, Yun Jioga whispered to Zishang, "This foxman is not bad. He's very clear-headed. He's all right." Zishang did not comment. "Oh right," 8 said that the oracle was arguing with his companions. Could it be Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun? Yun Jioga turned and looked at Zishang with bright eyes. She knew that Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun were not in cahoots with Nangong Yu. Let's call 8 out and ask him. Zishang had enough of eavesdropping. He opened the door and called 8 and Ah Sang out. "Miss Yun, I apologize for my rudeness earlier." 8 bowed deeply to Yun Jioga. "I forgive your rudeness." Yun Jioga nodded reservedly, then asked, "You said that you saw the oracle and his companions. What did they look like?" "1 woman and 3 men. They were all very good-looking." 8 racked his brains but could not think of any adjectives other than good-looking. "Don't say any more. Just let them see. Close your eyes and try your best to imagine what they look like." Ah Sang patted 8's shoulder. 8 obediently closed his eyes. However, he frowned deeply, looking like he had suffered a great deal of hatred. Ah Sang placed her hand on his forehead. The golden light flickered and turned into a light screen. Inside the light screen was a woman and 3 men. The woman was dressed in a sky-blue magical robe. Her skin was fair and her features were picturesque. Her chin was exquisite and small, and her nose was straight and delicate. The corners of her rosy lips were slightly curled up as if she was smiling. Just looking at her would make one feel happy. It was Nangong Yu. Standing beside her were Nangong Li, Bailey Moyun, and an enlarged version of Cho Sr. It really is them. Although Yun Jioga had been guessing, now that he saw the image he had proof. "Memory reading, that's a pretty good ability," Yun Jioga praised. "Thanks for the compliment." Ah Sang smiled shyly. At first he didn't want to reveal this ability, but for Lilia and 8, he had to be more useful. "Can you read the content of the argument between the oracle and his companion?" Yun Jioga asked again. "Let me try." Ah Sang's fingers moved slightly, and the image on the light screen immediately changed. A petite, fair-skinned jackal girl appeared on the light screen. She said to 8 in a low voice, "Big brother, I heard Master Li and Master Moyun arguing with the oracle yesterday. They said that the gaga grass is for pregnant women and that we can't do it. I don't feel good about it. Let's not plant the gaga grass. Let's go find Ah Sang." That's all 8's memory of the argument. Ah Sang's voice was tired. The golden light on his hand gradually dimmed. The memory reading ability consumed a lot of energy, and he had reached his limit. Enough. Yun Jioga nodded and said to Ah Sang, "You've passed the test. Tomorrow bring your clansmen to awaken on time, and then go on a mission with us. The military counselor will tell you the details of the mission." As for 8, Yun Jioga's gaze fell on the extremely nervous 8. He said coldly, "If he can complete the mission, I'll consider helping him awaken another clansman." "Yes, thank you, Miss Yun." Ah Sang quickly nodded. He was very clear about the current situation of the jackal people. It took more effort to awaken one than to awaken a clan. This reward was very extravagant. "Let's go find the military counselor." Yun Jioga waved his hand and let Ah Sang and 8 leave. "The foxmen are very useful. Am I right?" Zishang raised his eyebrows. Yun Jioga had doubted him before. "Yes, your decision is always right." Yun Jioga almost gave Zishang a thumbs up to show his admiration. "Rest early. We'll set off immediately after the awakening of the foxmen." Zishang rubbed Yun Jioga's hair and took her to rest. The next morning, Yun Jioga personally presided over the awakening of the foxmen. The awakening process was very smooth. Unfortunately, except for Ah Sang, the other foxmen only awakened ordinary illusion abilities. In the end, Zishang organized them into a scouting team, which was responsible for patrolling and investigating the surrounding situation together with the Eagle Men. On this trip to Grey Castle, Yun Jioga mainly brought the members of his guard team, the Rabbit Men Meng and Maya, the Eagle Men Hoodlum and Zay, and Ah Sang and 8. "Let's go to the encampment of the Leopard Men and the Lizard Men first. You guys sit on Hoodlum." Zishang asked Ah Sang and Zay to turn huge. He and Yunjioga sat on Ah Sang while the other orcs sat on Ah Sang. Then they flew to the encampment of the lizard men and leopard men. Yunjioga didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that the aura of death in the secret realm was getting thicker. The earth was like a toad struggling at death's door, and the skin on his body was already dry and cracked. Many beasts lay among the withered grass and trees. Their bodies were covered with black scars of death and emitted a foul smell. If Miss Yun hadn't built Cloud City, we orcs would have ended up like them, Ah Sang whispered to 8. 8 didn't reply, but he looked at Yunjioga's back with a trace of fear and gratitude. He had gone to the dungeon to see the rest of his people. Although their minds were controlled and their faces were numb, at least they were still alive and there was still hope. The encampment of the leopard men is over there. Hold tight, I'm going to land. Ah Sang's voice came and then he quickly landed. Yunjioga, Zishang and the others jumped off the eagle's back. There were piles of rocks everywhere. From the smooth surface of the rocks, one could vaguely see that there used to be an orc tribe living here. 8. See if there are any clues. Yunjioga walked around and didn't find anything special. Yes. 8 immediately bent down and turned into a huge jackal. His reddish-brown fur shone, and his gray eyes emitted a sharp light. He sniffed around the pile of rubble and quickly identified his target. He used his claws to dig up a large rock and dug out a neatly wrapped bundle from underneath. There was an animal skin and an old stone bowl with holes in it. This is left behind by the leopard men and lizard men. They agreed to migrate together, Ah Sang said. Yunjioga flipped through the things. Usually, orcs would bury things they didn't need before migrating. On one hand, it might be useful in the future. On the other hand, it was to hide the traces of their lives. It seemed that the leopard men and lizard men left very calmly. 8. Can you find their route of departure? Zishang asked. Chapter 537. Although the smell is a little faint, I can tell that they left in that direction. 8 raised his head and looked to the west. Lead the way. Aze and Afei follow. Yunjioga and Zishang sat back on Aze. The 2 black eagles followed behind 8. Art sprinted across the land, occasionally stopping to sniff at a fork in the road, then moving on. After running for about an hour, 8 circled a wide forest of dead trees and retreated to a small river that he had just passed by. He looked up and shouted at Yunjioga and the others, "This is where the leopard men disappeared." Here. Yunjioga looked down at the dry stream. It was too far and he didn't see anything. Zay, go down. Then, Zishang jumped down from behind Lu Zay and landed on a dry riverbed. Yunjioga and the others landed too. Demeng accidentally stepped into the deep black mud. When he jumped out, his feet were covered in mud. Stay away from me. Maya looked at Demeng with disgust and quickly left. Yunjioga quietly left too. The mud was too smelly. Look here. Zishang pulled Yunjioga and signaled her to look at the grass by the river. There were a few scattered footprints that were so faint that they were almost invisible, heading towards the forest of dead trees in the distance. 8. What's going on? Yunjioga asked. Although the last sign of the leopard men was in the forest up ahead, they actually disappeared by the river, 8 said as he walked up to Yunjioga and Zishang. Why? Yunjioga asked. If it were me, I would never bring my people into the dead tree forest. The footprints are too clear. Someone must have set it up, 8 said. Okay, everyone search around here. North, south, east, west, pick a group each. Yunjioga also wanted to pick a direction but was stopped by Zishang. This river seems to have dried up not long ago. Zishang squatted down and picked up the mud on the riverbed. It was still very wet. Could they have been attacked while drinking here? Yunjioga also squatted down and asked. Very likely. Zishang glanced at the messy footsteps by the river and said, something unexpected must have happened at that time. Where will they be taken? Yunjioga got up and looked around. The vast wilderness was empty except for the dead trees. I don't know about that. Without using demonic power and divine abilities, even he would have a hard time finding the missing leopard men and lizard men. About half an incense's time later, Aze and Afei flapped their wings and came back to report, Miss Yun, the east side is the wilderness. The end of the wilderness might be a cliff or it might be the death swamp. If we want to investigate clearly, we will need to fly for at least 2 days. Then Demeng and Maya returned. The west side is also in the wilderness. We didn't find any movement from the leopard men or the lizard men. Then 8 and Ah Sang also came back. Seeing Yunjioga's questioning gaze, Ah Sang shook his head helplessly and said, we didn't find anything here either. That leaves the dead tree forest. Yun Jioga looked at the forest shrouded in black mist. Miss Yun, I'm very sure that they disappeared near this river. 8 still insisted on his opinion. You 3 teams will change directions and search again. Yizi and I will go check the forest. Since someone pushed the clues to the dead tree forest, there should be some traces left behind, Yun Jioga said. Miss Yun, the dead tree forest is too dangerous. Maya and I should go check. Deming quickly stopped her. No need. Compared to these beastmen, Yun Jioga trusted her own eyes more. Miss Yun, we are your guards. If there's danger, we should be the first to go, Deming said anxiously. The other beastmen nodded. Yun Jioga had become the savior of the entire beastmen race. If anything happened to her, the entire guard team would be too ashamed to go back and see their people. You stay here and help 8 find clues. This is an order. Yun Jioga's face turned serious. Guards being too loyal was also a problem. Deming's ears were about to stand up. He was about to say something, but Maya stopped him and shook her head. Before entering the guard team, the advisor gave all the beastmen a lesson. He only emphasized one thing. They must listen to Miss Yun and Master Yizi. If they couldn't do it, they should leave. Miss Yun, Master Yizi, at least let me carry you over. Aze said. No need, we'll be back soon. Yun Jioga felt helpless seeing how the sky was about to fall on Zay and the rest of the orcs. It seemed that she had been too focused on her research that she became a weak chicken in front of the beastmen. It seemed that she had to show them her power when she had the chance. Let's go. Zishang pulled Yun Jioga and disappeared from their sight. Moments later, they arrived at the dead tree forest. Clues. Zishang pointed at a dead tree ahead. These traces do seem intentional. Yun Jioga looked at the paw print on the tree. It was left by the leopard. Let's go in and see. Zishang followed the trace into the forest. There were gray-white trees everywhere. The black leaves floated with a faint black gas. It had a nauseating smell. The paw print left by the leopard race was very clear. There were clues every few trees. It spread towards the center of the forest. It's probably a trap ahead. Do we still go? Yun Jioga looked at the arrow. The black gas there was like a whirlpool. Of course we have to. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated in 100 battles. We need to find out what kind of cards Cho Sen and Nangong you have. After saying that, black scales immediately covered his entire body. He then led the way. Yun Jioga only took 2 steps behind him when she felt something heavy under her feet. A gray vine grabbed her ankle and pulled her into the forest. Zishang turned and stomped on the vine, protecting Yun Jioga behind him. The dead trees in the forest started to boil. The dead trees swarmed toward them like sharks that had smelled blood. Countless tree vines attacked them. Open your spirit eye and find the tree core. Zishang carried Yun Jioga and moved left and right. He punched the trees in front of him. However, there were more and more trees. Even if they were broken, they would regrow. There was no time to stop. Yun Jioga opened his spiritual eye to search around and finally found a ball that was flickering with gray light that was constantly moving around. It was undoubtedly the dead tree's heart. There. Yun Jioga flicked her moon spirit thread to the gray orb. Zishang turned into a snake tail and whipped in that direction. All the dead trees in front of him turned to dust. Yun Jioga used her moon spirit thread to wrap around the gray orb. Just when she was about to crush it, she heard a terrified cry. Don't kill me. Chapter 538. What the hell is this? Yun Jioga looked at the gray eyeball that was tightly wrapped by moon spirit threads. Its blood-red pupil and bloodshot eye whites made him uncomfortable. This is a demon. Zishang took the eyeball and asked, Where did you come from? Please, I've been here since I was born, okay? But where did you invaders come from? Why are you destroying my home? The eyeball complained as if it was an innocent victim. These dead trees only appeared after the black rain. How did you stay here all this time? Zishang sneered. I was born in this dead forest after the black rain. Of course I've been here all this time, the eyeball said disdainfully. You can be even more arrogant. Zishang pinched the eyeball with his fingers, causing the blood vessels on the eyeball to burst out. Ouch, gentler, gentler. You're hurting me, the eyeball shrieked. Trust me, I can make it hurt even more. Zishang's lips curled up, his gaze cruel. Don't be like this. Keeping me around is good for you, the eyeball shouted in panic. What good can you do? Yun Jioga raised an eyebrow. I know everything, the eyeball said proudly. Then can you tell me where the black rain in this hidden realm came from? Oh. The eyeball froze. Then can you tell me how to dispel the demonic chi and restore the hidden realm's vitality? Yun Jioga asked again. No, I can't. The eyeball suddenly felt so useless. Then what's the point of keeping you around? Yun Jioga stared at the eyeball's red pupil emotionlessly. Wait, did you come here to find those stupid leopards and lizards? I know where they are. I can take you there, the eyeball hurriedly shouted. Zishang and Yun Jioga looked at each other. Then tell me, where are they? Yun Jioga asked. Those stupid leopards and lizards are locked in the river up ahead. I'll take you there now, but you have to let go of me first. The eyeball blinked its gray-white eyelids. I'll use moon spirit threads to tie it up. Yun Jioga weaved the moon spirit threads into a gray-white net and wrapped it around the eyeball. What is this? It's so disgusting. The eyeball shook left and right, trying to break free from the net. No matter how disgusting it is, it's still better than you. I'm warning you, behave yourself or else I'll suck you dry. Although Yun Jioga hadn't used the devouring ability of the moon spirit threads, she didn't mind trying it out on this eyeball. I've always been honest. Why do you keep threatening an innocent monster like me? The eyeball's eyes were wet as if it was about to cry. Shut up. You're disgusting. Yun Jioga was getting goosebumps. All right. The eyeball immediately returned to its original state after failing to act pitifully, and obediently flew forward. Yun Jioga and Zishang followed the eyeball out of the forest. They saw Zhe Demeng and the other orcs waiting anxiously outside. What are you guys doing here? Have you finished searching the river? Yun Jioga asked. I've already searched, but I didn't find anything. Maybe I guessed wrong. 8 lowered his head in frustration. He was scolded by Asang for being too impulsive. He actually caused Lady Yun and Master Yizi to personally enter the forest to check. No, you're not wrong. The wercats and lizard men have indeed disappeared from the river. This thing will help us find them. Yun Jioga pulled the string in her hand, and the eyeball that was flying high in the sky was pulled down by her. What is this disgusting thing? Aze was shocked. Is this an eyeball? Oh my god, it's alive. It can move and fly. The shocked orcs all came over. Maya even wanted to touch the eyeball. Go away, you stupid orcs. I'm a great and noble monster. I'm not someone you lowly beings can dream of. The eyeball flew up proudly and looked down at the orcs. It also glanced at Yun Jioga and Zishang. Great, my ass, take us to the leopard people. Yun Jioga shook the moon spirit threads and the eyeball spun. Stop bullshitting, I'll take you there now. The eyeball flew into the river and circled around the mud Demeng fell into before saying, It's here. We've checked this place many times. There's nothing but mud. 8's feet were covered in mud from when he went into the river. Stupid orcs, back off. The eyeball sneered and shot a dark red beam at the bottom of the river. The bottom of the river, which was full of silt, rumbled, and then a big black hole appeared. Gusts of chilly wind drifted out from it. The people you're looking for are inside. Go in. The eyeball said. There's indeed the smell of leopard people and lizard men inside. 8 nodded with a serious expression. Take us in. Yun Jioga pulled the eyeball. Okay, follow me. The eyeball moved and floated inside. 8, Sang and Zhe walked in front, Yun Jioga and Zishang in the middle, and Maya, Demeng and Afei brought up the rear. Yun Jioga followed the eyeball and found that there were all kinds of complicated tunnels under the river. The gray stone walls looked very sturdy, and it was obvious that someone had carefully built them. Looks like this is the secret tunnel of Grey Castle. Zishang touched the wall and asked Yun Jioga, Open your spirit eye and see what's over there. Yun Jioga opened her spirit eye and saw countless figures glowing with gray light in the tunnel not far away. They were walking toward Cloud City. They're attacking Cloud City. Yun Jioga knew that Grey Castle would attack, but she didn't expect it to be today. You guys leave immediately and return to Cloud City, Zishang said coldly. I'll stay and destroy these tunnels. Okay. Yun Jioga was about to turn around, but she was tied up by a gray vine. Countless vines shot out from the tunnel and drowned her like a gray ocean. Yun Jioga's vision was filled with gray vines. She pulled back her moon spirit thread and found that there was only an empty shell of an eyeball. Haha, you idiots fell into my trap. I have countless doppelgangers. There's no way you can trap me. Obediently accept your death and watch Cloud City be destroyed. The eyeball laughed arrogantly, and the surging gray vines tied Yun Jioga tightly. She was about to use her divine power to break free when the cute baby's voice suddenly appeared. Master. What's wrong? Yun Jioga sank into the demonic cauldron and saw the cute baby's little chubby face pulling the confused demonic embryo grass. Chapter 539. This stupid eyeball is so arrogant. Why don't you let Xiao Qiao out to catch it? Did you forget about Xiao Qiao again? The baby said unhappily. Who said I forgot about it? I'm about to let it out. But are you sure Xiao Qiao can really catch that eyeball? Yun Jioge looked at the innocent Xiao Qiao. After a while, Xiao Qiao had grown taller. She was already the size of a 3-year-old. The baby knitted a green cloak for him. Finally, he wasn't naked anymore. Of course, Xiao Qiao is a demonic fetus. She's born to restrain all kinds of demons. The baby raised his chin proudly as if Xiao Qiao was born by him. Xiao Qiao, are you sure you can do it? Yun Jioge ignored the baby's bragging and looked at Xiao Qiao. Chio Chio catch. The baby grinned, revealing 2 white teeth the size of rice grains. Go. Yun Jioge released Xiao Qiao from the demonic tripod. The gray vines that were attacking Yun Jioge suddenly trembled. They turned and ran as if they saw something terrifying. Chio Chio, don't run. Black mist floated around Xiao Qiao. She ran toward the floating eyeball with her short legs. Ah, brat, go away. The eyeball screamed and flew toward the exit. Catch. Xiao Qiao stretched out her meaty claws and grabbed at the sky. The eyeball was immediately fixed by an invisible magic. It struggled with all its might. Its eyes were even bursting with blood vessels, but it still didn't move. Ah, Chio Chio. Xiao Qiao stood on her tiptoes and plucked the eyeball. She rubbed it in her hands as if she had gotten a new toy. Save me, the eyeball begged for mercy. Don't you have countless clones? Run again. Yun Jioge broke free from the gray vines and took the eyeball from Xiao Qiao's hands. He pinched it hard. King, have mercy. The eyeball begged pitifully. Actually, I'm just a clone. It was destroyed just now. Remove these vines immediately and release my companions, Yun Jioge ordered fiercely. Yes. The eyeball removed the sea of gray vines as quickly as possible. Zhe and the others fell to the ground, but they didn't see Zishang. Where did the other one go? Yun Jioge asked the eyeball. I don't know. He disappeared just now. His eyeballs moved left and right as if he was shaking his head. Miss Yun, Master Yi Zi went out from the side tunnel. He wants you to take us away. He's in charge of destroying the tunnel. Zhe got up dizzily. When did he tell you? Yun Jioge asked. Just before the branches came out. As soon as he said that, there was a rumbling sound in the distance. Debris kept falling from the tunnel. Run, that madman blew up the passage, we'll all be buried here, the eyeball screamed. Xiao Qiao, hold on to it tightly. Everyone hurry up and leave this place. Yun Jioge threw the eyeball back to Xiao Qiao and then ran towards the exit with the orcs. Please take me back, I don't want to stay with the naughty kid, eyeball screamed. Yun Jioge couldn't be bothered with it. He raised his hand and used his moon spirit threads to block the falling rocks. He finally rushed out of the tunnel before it collapsed. Oh my, Miss Yun, look over there. Zhe used his wings to point at the wasteland in the distance. The black ground kept collapsing as if there was a monster rolling around under it, ready to come out at any time. Let's go back to Cloud City first. Yun Jioge could feel that the monster's presence was Zishang. Since Zishang wanted them to go back to Cloud City, then he could handle it. Here. Zhe and Fei turned into black eagles again and carried everyone back to Cloud City. Yun Jioge sat on Zhe's back with Xiao Qiao in his arms. He watched as the eyeball shivered in Xiao Cao's palm. Please take me away from here. The eyeball looked at Yun Jioge pitifully. This time it was really crying. Why are you so afraid of Xiao Qiao? Have you seen it before? Yun Jioge found it unbelievable. All demon babies are black. Fear flashed through the eyeball's red pupils. It muttered to itself like a psychopath, they will never get tired of stabbing you with needles, burning you with fire, scalding you with boiling water, and throwing you into a group of demon rats to watch you get bitten to pieces. Tisk. Yun Jioge frowned. He felt his eyes start to hurt. I'll promise you anything as long as you don't leave me behind. The eyeball cried like a good girl who fell into a demon's den. That depends on your performance. Yun Jioge laughed inwardly. He didn't expect the naughty kid to have such power. I'll do my best. The eyeball shook up and down excitedly. Xiao Qiao reached out and flicked it with a smile, as if she was playing with a roly-poly toy. Be good, Xiao Qiao. We'll play later. Yun Jioge moved Xiao Cao's finger away and asked the eyeball, you said you appeared after the black rain. Is that true? No, I'm actually a magic ball specially trained by Lady Nangong Yu for missions. She has trained a total of 300 magic balls. They are scattered in the dead forest to ambush the orc tribes. After we catch the orcs, we send them to Lord Cho Sin of Grey Castle to make puppets to attack Cloud City. The eyeball immediately explained in detail. What's Nangong Yu's real identity? Why does she train monsters? The eyeball in front of him was full of intelligence. It was comparable to a high-level monster. It wasn't something an ordinary person could train, not even 1,000 killers. That guy only knew how to fight and kill. It couldn't do such a delicate job. I don't know what Nangong Yu's real identity is. After I was trained, I was thrown into the dead forest. She only gives us missions through the magic pool, the eyeball answered honestly. What's the magic pool? Yun Jioga asked again. It's the place where we were born. Nangong, you can observe our situation through the magic pool and control our life and death. The eyeball saw the strange look on Yun Jioga's face and hurriedly added, however, an accident happened when I was born. Nangong, you had already lost control over me. That's why I'm so smart and adorable. What happened when you were born? Yun Jioga asked curiously. I don't know. I don't have that kind of memory. But I know I'm different, the eyeball said with a hint of pride. I can see that. Such a strange personality was indeed not something an ordinary monster could have. Really? You're really my confidant. I heard those stupid orcs call you Lady Yun. Can I call you that too? As long as you don't leave me with this naughty kid, I'm willing to swear loyalty to you. The eyeball blinked, trying to make itself look more sincere. Chapter 540. I don't need your loyalty. You just need to answer my questions honestly. Yun Jioga interrupted the eyeball's nagging and asked, when did you give the order to attack Cloud City? Today. I suspect Nangong Yu has spies in Cloud City. She gave the order to attack the city right after you left. The eyeball said seriously, Master, I'm good at finding spies. You can leave it to me. First, there are no spies in Cloud City. Second, I'm not your master. Yes. Yun Jioga put the eyeball back into Xiao Chao's hand. Don't give me to him. The eyeball screamed. Xiao Chao giggled. She grabbed the eyeball with her meaty claws and rubbed it. She was having a lot of fun. You can scream louder. I'm sure Xiao Chao will be happy. Yun Jioga reminded it kindly. The eyeball immediately stopped screaming. Its eyelids drooped and turned into a gray ball. No matter what Xiao Chao did, it wouldn't make a sound. Chio, stop screaming. Xiao Chao said to Yun Jioga disappointedly. Let it scream when we get to Cloud City. Yun Jioga patted Xiao Chao's head. Okay. Xiao Chao put the eyeball into the pocket of her green cloak and patted it. She asked expectantly, Are we there? Ready. It's over there. Yun Jioga pointed to Cloud City in the distance. The Cloud City was wrapped in layers of gray vines, and there were also many puppet orcs mixed in among them, launching attacks. Fortunately, the entire Cloud City was covered by Yin Shirley's Yin Yang Qi. The attack was temporarily blocked. Eyeball, can you get rid of these dead trees and vines? Yun Jioga patted Xiao Chao's pocket. No. Those dead trees aren't my subordinates. I can't summon them. The eyeball said gloomily. If you can find a way to open a path, I'll let you leave Xiao Chao for 2 hours. Yun Jioga offered. No, at least a day. The eyeball opened its gray eyelids and tried to fight for it. Okay, one day it is. Yun Jioga took out the eyeball and wrapped it with the moon spirit thread. Then he warned, if you play any more tricks, I will let Xiao Chao stab you with needles, burn you with fire, scald you with boiling water, throw you into a group of demon rats, and watch you being bitten into pieces. Don't say any more. I will be honest. If the eyeball had hands, it would have raised them in surrender. Putting aside the fact that it no longer had any doppelgangers to use, the devilish brat's terrifying magic seal was enough to deal with it. Then hurry up and open up the passageway, Yun Jioga said. I'll open it immediately. Tell those 2 stupid black eagles to follow me closely. The eyeball shot out a beam of red light, and a crack appeared in the middle of the vines. Aze and Ah Fei sped up and charged into the sky above Cloud City. Then they passed through the Yin Yang Qi defense and landed. You're finally back. If you were any later, you would be collecting the corpses of these orcs. Yin Shirley's figure immediately appeared in front of Yun Jioga. What's the situation now? Yun Jioga looked around the entire Cloud City and saw that all the orcs had looks of despair on their faces. It was as though the end of the world was coming. The situation is not good. Although the formation that Yi Zi set up has been completely opened, it has used up too much energy. It won't last long. Why are you the only one back? Where's Yi Zi? Yin Shirley looked around and didn't see the most reliable figure. He's at the back, cutting off the tail. You will need some time to catch up. Aze, go and call the various chiefs and elders over. I have a mission to give them. They couldn't just sit around and wait for death. They had to take the initiative. Yes. Aze immediately set off. Surely go back and do your job. If the defensive barrier is broken before Yizi returns, you'll be waiting to be whipped by him. Jioga pointed at the gradually fading defensive barrier in the sky. The gray vines were waving around outside. I'm a walking corpse. How are you going to whip me? Shirley replied impatiently. He returned to the formation to take charge of the situation. Not long after, the military advisor and the various chiefs and elders rushed over. Long story short, do you see those dead trees and vines? They are being controlled by demonic creatures. I will mark those demonic creatures out later. The Naga tribe, bring your bows and arrows and prepare to provide cover. The Eaglemen tribe, you are responsible for attacking. The Foxmen tribe, set up an illusion. The rest of the awakened orcs, defend the four corners of the city. Jioga calmly issued various orders. His powerful aura calmed the orcs down. They all responded loudly. The golden orcs were spread throughout the entire Cloud City under Jioga's command. Miss Yun, how do you plan to mark those demonic creatures out? The military advisor asked. Use this. Jioga dug out the eyeball and stuffed it into Xiao Chao's hands. Xiao Chao, take the eyeball and mark the demonic creatures. If he doesn't listen, beat him up. Okay. Xiao Chao responded in a loud and clear voice. You promised to let me leave it for a day. You lied to me? The eyeball looked at Jioga in disbelief. Chiu is crying again. Xiao Chao grinned, revealing 2 grain-sized teeth. Transparent saliva dripped onto the eyeball. Let me die. The eyeball was about to collapse as it wailed. I only said to let you leave Xiao Chao for a day. I didn't say today. Get to work now. If you don't perform well, I'll seal you in Xiao Chao's saliva. Jioga threatened the eyeball while wiping Xiao Chao's saliva. This was the disadvantage of children with teeth. Saliva flew everywhere. Kill me. The eyeball screamed and flew forward desperately. Go, go, go. I'm going to kill all those damn demonic creatures. I'm not having a good time, so I won't let them have it easy. Miss Yun, who is this little adult? The military advisor looked at Xiao Chao's nimble figure. This is my demonic child, Xiao Chao. Aze, you guys go help too. Get rid of these vines as soon as possible. Jioga waved his hand for his personal guards to follow. Aze hesitated for a moment, but in the end he still chose to help Xiao Chao. The other orcs followed. The eyeball ran around the city walls. It kept shooting red rays from its eyes, burning red dots into the gray dead trees. The eaglemen transformed into their original forms and shuttled through the air. The Nagas wrapped themselves tightly around them and shot at the demonic creatures hidden in the vines. Those demonic creatures were all very thick and slow, so they were easily eliminated. The gray vines of the dead trees withered one after another. The puppet orcs were confused in the illusion set up by the foxmen. They attacked each other, and the pressure of attacking the city decreased a lot. Military advisor, did you see that? I just killed 15 demonic creatures with Meng. Aze flew over with Meng on his back. It's 50. How did you count? Meng rolled his eyes at Aze with his crossbow, but he couldn't hide the excitement on his face. It seems that the oracle's tricks aren't that great. Aze boasted shamelessly. Don't let your guard down. There's a kind of demon monkey corpse in Grey Castle. It's extremely strong and fast. If you encounter it, you must distance yourself and kill it. Don't let it get close to you. Cho Sen's demon monkey corpses hadn't appeared yet. They were the real troublesome ones. Chapter 541. Isn't it just a monkey? I'm the best at dealing with monkeys. Aze said with a confident face. Those aren't normal monkeys, those are. Before Jioga could finish, he was interrupted by a sharp scream. He saw 3 monkey demon corpses appear in the southwest corner, tearing several tall and strong bear people in half with their bare hands. Blood splattered everywhere, causing the beast people to scream in fear. The arrogant eyeball floating in the air saw the monkey demon corpses and immediately shrank back into Xiao Chao's pocket. Bad monkey, hit, hit, hit. Xiao Chao moved his short legs and charged at the monkey demon corpses. Careful, don't get close to it. Jioga also quickly charged over and used the moon spirit thread to tie up the monkey demon corpses. Although Xiao Chao's body only reached the knees of the monkey demon corpses, he bravely stepped on the knees and jumped onto its head. He covered the monkey's head with one hand and sucked it dry. Do your best, Xiao Chao. The little baby excitedly shouted in Jioga's sea of consciousness. How did Xiao Chao suddenly become this strong? Yun Jioga watched in shock as little grass jumped around the three monster monkey corpses like a nimble little rabbit, sucking them dry without any effort. Hey, when I was helping you find seeds, I found some soul-eroding demon flower essence, so I gave it to him. The little baby proudly said. Soul-eroding demon flower, what is that? Yun Jioga had never heard of it before. That is a heaven-level demon. After eating it, it has the ability to forcefully steal the demon's soul. It is the most suitable for Xiao Qiao. The little baby proudly said. It really is suitable. Yun Jioga saw Xiao Qiao easily kill the three monkey demon corpses. His heart was filled with an indescribable joy. Master, I killed them all. Xiao Qiao bounced over to Yun Jioga, looking up with a small face like he was asking for praise. Good job. Yun Jioga rubbed his little head. Master Xiao Qiao is truly too strong. The eyeball that had been hiding came out and began to run around Xiao Qiao. Flatterer. Yun Jioga snappily flicked the eyeball and asked, Aren't you a demon? Why are you afraid of a few monkey demon corpses? Those are not normal monster monkey corpses, they are infused with devil souls. The eyeball confidently said, Cho-sen is very good at this. He also has a super large and powerful monster monkey corpse. It is equivalent to a human nascent soul cultivator. He actually got his hands on an original level monkey's corpse. Yun Jioji's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling about this. Oh no, he's here. The eyeball suddenly screamed and tried to hide again. Who's here? Yun Jioga quickly grabbed it. It's Cho-sen. He brought the monster monkey corpse over. Don't let him discover my existence, otherwise I'm dead for sure. The eyeball broke free from Yun Jioga's grasp and hid in Xiao Qiao's pocket, shivering. Yun Jioga stood at the highest point of the city wall and saw a 30-foot-tall monster monkey corpse running towards Cloud City. It looked ferocious and wore black armor. Like a bull, it charged over and slammed into the city wall. There was a loud bang. The entire city wall shook 3 times and the gray yin and yang qi covering it weakened quite a bit. If it hits us again, the city wall will collapse. Yin Shirley's hysterical voice came over. Aze immediately charged at the black-armored monster monkey. The other beastmen also used their own methods. The illusion array and 10,000 arrows all shot out. The black-armored monster monkey opened its mouth and let out an angry roar. An invisible sound wave spread out, not only blowing away the arrows, it also caused internal injuries to the eagle man in the sky. Aze's body shook, but he still fell to the ground with Meng. Bad monkey. Xiao Qiao let out an angry scream and charged at the black-armored monster monkey. Go back, this isn't something you can deal with. Yun Jioga threw Xiao Qiao back into the demonic cauldron. The moon spirit threads wrapped around the black-armored monster monkey and the gray devouring threads pierced into its body. He never thought that the black-armored monster monkey's body would be as hard as rock and the moon spirit threads couldn't pierce through it. Yun Jioga was about to increase his divine power output when the black-armored monster monkey's body suddenly released a dazzling black light that bounced off the moon spirit threads. Yun Jioga felt like her chest was hit by a hammer. Her body swayed and she fell off the wall. The black-armored monster monkey immediately reached out its furry paw to catch her. Yun Jioga shot out the moon spirit threads to stabilize herself and successfully avoided the black-armored monster monkey's attack. She used the last of her divine power to open her spirit eye and finally found his demon core on his forehead. However, her remaining divine power couldn't fly over to get rid of that demon core. She had to find someone to help her. Yun Jioga looked around. The orcs were all badly injured, and the eagle men were even more dizzy from the sound wave just now, flying all over the place. Just as despair rose in her heart, the spirit beast pouch trembled and a sturdy figure flew out of it. Ow. I'm starving. Dummy flapped its wings and was about to look for food when it realized the situation in front of it was a bit strange. A gray castle with many beasts that looked like humans and many black eagles that looked like it. What was going on? Dummy, get out of the way, Yun Jioga screamed. Only then did Dummy realize a huge black gorilla was reaching out to catch it. Dummy's golden light flashed and it quickly avoided the black-armored monster monkey's attack and instantly arrived beside Yun Jioga. Ow, hungry. You nail that monkey's forehead and I'll let you eat cherry pills until you're full. Yun Jioga took out the bottle and shook it in front of Dummy. Dummy opened its eyes wide and immediately spread its wings to rush toward the black-armored monster monkey. The black-armored monster monkey waved its hands to slap Dummy to death, but it always nimbly dodged it. Dummy found an opportunity to stare at the black-armored monster monkey's forehead, but it cried out in pain. Dummy, as long as you can stare at its forehead in the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn, I'll add another bottle of celestial dew. Yun Jioga raised the stakes. Dummy's eyes lit up with excitement and stared down like a woodpecker. The black armored monster monkey let out a series of angry howls. Unfortunately, Dummy was completely immune to its sound wave technique. Dummy finally stared at the black armored monster monkey's forehead in the time it took for a stick of incense to burn. Go little grass. Yun Jioga took little grass out of the demonic cauldron and threw it at the black armored monster monkey. Little grass's fat body rolled a few times in the air before safely landing on the demon monkey corpse's head. It reached out to the black armored monster monkey's forehead and the surging black light was pulled out. The black armored monster monkey let out a miserable cry of pain, but it was still killed by little grass. Good job. Yun Jioga let out a sigh of relief when he saw a black cold wind blow by. Little grass's figure instantly disappeared and then reappeared in the distance. Yun Jioga, long time no see. Cho Sun grabbed little grass's collar and revealed a sinister smile at Yun Jioga. Chapter 542. Cho Sun put him down. Yun Jioga desperately circulated the divine power in his body, but he had used up too much when fighting against the black armored monkey. The remaining bit was only enough for one attack. I can put him down unless you trade me that fat bird and the secret to awakening the orcs. Cho Sun looked greedily at Dummy. Ow ow ow. Dummy immediately roared angrily. He opened his mouth and spat out 2 fireballs. Cho Sun used Xiao Chao as a shield and all the fireballs hit Xiao Chao. Dummy, shut up. Yun Jioga glared at Dummy. Dummy immediately didn't dare to make a sound. What do you, a demonic cultivator, want this bird for? How about this, I'll trade you with the top secret technique of the corpse sect. Yun Jioga tried to negotiate with Cho Sr. Ha ha. Cho Sun laughed wildly and looked at Yun Jioga like he was an idiot. Why would I take the lousy technique of the corpse sect? You're not Cho Sun, Yun Jioga suddenly said. No matter how arrogant Cho Sun was, he wouldn't look down on the technique of the corpse sect. You're indeed the reincarnation of a goddess. You have a good eye. Cho Sun smiled and admitted it without hesitation. Who are you and what's your relationship with Nangongyu? If this Cho Sun's heart was replaced, then Nangongyu might not be herself. If you want to know, trade with the secret to awakening the golden light. Otherwise I'll eat this little guy. Cho Sun grabbed Xiao Chao's neck and licked its face with his bright red tongue. Xiao Chao trembled in fear. Her big eyes were filled with fear. Her 2 small hands tried to pry Cho Sun's hand away and her little feet desperately kicked in the air. Master, I want to save Xiao Chao. Let me out. The little baby Yun Jioga shouted excitedly in the divine sense. What can you do? Don't cause trouble. The little baby had been planting grass every day since he returned. He had no fighting power. I have one chance to teleport. Put me on his head. I'll knock him out and put Xiao Chao in. The little baby had saved up for a long time to get one chance to teleport. He was saving it to save Yun Jioga in the future, but now he could only use it to save Xiao Chao. Yun Jioga looked at Xiao Cao's face, which was becoming more and more purple, and could only give it a try. I'll attract his attention first, and you can teleport over when the time is right. Yes. The little cute baby's round face was taut, and he stared at Cho Sun with all his might. Cho Sun patted Xiao Chao's face and asked Yun Jioga with a smile, have you decided? Do you want this demonic embryo or do you want to protect these useless beastmen? If you let it go, I'll give you the method to awaken the golden light, but I can't give it to Dummy, Yun Jioga said in a low voice. Okay, use your divine sense to engrave the method of awakening into the jade slip. If it's useful, I'll let it go. Cho Sun slightly loosened his grip on Xiao Chao, but he still firmly confined her body. All right. Yun Jioga took out a jade strip from his storage bag, casually imprinted a bit of his spiritual consciousness into it, and then threw it to Cho. Senator Cho Sun's eyes stared at the jade slip. His right hand transformed into a black light and grabbed the jade slip. Yun Jioga took the chance to release the demonic tripod and smash it at the back of his head. The little cute baby's teleportation was very successful. At that moment, Cho Sun's left hand was holding the baby, and his right hand was holding the jade slip. He couldn't react at all. But just as the demonic tripod was about to smash his head, a large black hand appeared from his neck and knocked the demonic tripod away. Ah, get out of the way. The little cute baby screamed and flew toward Yun Jioga. Yun Jioga quickly dodged and saw the demonic tripod violently hit Cloud City. With a loud bang, the defensive shield on top of Cloud City disappeared. The remaining puppet beastmen immediately climbed over the wall and fought with the golden light beastmen. The scene was chaotic. Master, I didn't do it on purpose. He's too powerful. The troublemaker cried and returned to Yun Jioge's consciousness. Yun Jioge didn't have time to scold him. He looked at Cho Sen and said, "Don't mess around. Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see your coffin. I have to teach you a lesson." Cho Sen revealed a cruel smile. His left hand grabbed Xiao Cao's body, and his right hand pinched its arm. He was about to pull it off. "No!" Yun Jioge screamed. His divine power turned into a golden arrow and shot at Cho. Senator Cho Sen knew how powerful the arrow was. He immediately blocked Xiao Cao in front of him. Yun Jioge used his divine consciousness to control the golden arrow. He wanted to find a flaw, but Cho Sen always stopped him with Xiao Cao. "Shoot him." Suddenly, Zishang's voice reached Yun Jioge's ears. "Where are you?" Yun Jioge's eyes lit up. His helper was finally back. "Don't worry about me. Hurry up and shoot." Zishang's tone was urgent. It wasn't easy to use divine consciousness transmission in the spirit-forbidding land. "Okay." Yun Jioge gritted his teeth and shot the golden arrow at Cho. Senator Cho Sen hadn't expected Yun Jioge to really dare to attack. He threw Xiao Cao in the direction of the golden arrow and quickly retreated. Yun Jioge used all his strength to make the golden arrow make a big turn. It brushed past Xiao Cao's arm and flew toward Cho. Senator Cho Sen's hands moved like wheels. He conjured countless spells and shot out rays of black light to block the golden arrow. The golden arrow chased after him like a hot knife through butter. Just then, Zishang's voice reached Yun Jioge's ears again. "Show weakness." Yun Jioge immediately reduced the amount of divine power he was using. The golden arrow's light gradually weakened and was finally scattered by Cho Sen's black light. Joy flashed in Cho Sen's eyes. He was about to counterattack and take down Yun Jioge when Zishang appeared behind him like a ghost. His fists rained down on Cho Sen's body and hit the ground. Cho Sen spat out a mouthful of black blood. The black light around his body exploded. He took advantage of Zishang's shock to fly forward. But before he could fly more than 3 meters, Zishang's tail whipped him back. He flew toward Yun Jioge like a kite with a broken string. Yun Jioge used his remaining divine power to form a golden arrow and successfully shot it through his chest. Ow ow ow. Dummy didn't miss the opportunity. It opened its mouth and spat out countless fireballs at Cho. Senator Cho Sen's face was burned black by Dummy's fireballs. He fell heavily to the ground. "Who are you?" Yun Jioge used his moon spirit threads to tie Cho Sen up. He wanted to interrogate him, but he found that he wasn't breathing. "He's dead." Yun Jioge couldn't believe it. Zishang walked over and stepped on Cho Sen's body. He glanced at Cho Sen's head and said, "The demonic soul that took over his body has run away." Where did that demonic soul come from? How could it take over a body in this arcane realm? Even Wan Sha's soul couldn't enter and leave the arcane realm freely. You'll have to ask Nangong Yu to find out. Zishang rubbed his fingers. He wanted to use demon fire to burn Cho Sen's body. Wait. Yun Jioge hurriedly stopped Zishang and said, "Cho Sen's soul might still be here. Leave his body here first." "You're right. He's a golden core cultivator after all. It's not a bad idea to feed him to demonic beasts in the future." Zishang nodded. It was indeed a waste to burn him like this. Chapter 543. Yun Jioge rolled her eyes at Zishang and put Cho Sen's body into her storage bag. She turned to look at the devastated Cloud City. Demeng and the other orcs had already killed most of the puppet orcs. "Miss Yun, are you all right?" The military counselor flapped his wings and flew over. "I'm fine. Take a good look at the casualties and bring it to me later," Yun Jioge ordered in a low voice. "Yes." The military counselor glanced at Dummy. He wanted to talk to him, but he still flew away. "Dummy, come here." Yun Jioge called Dummy over. "Ow ow ow. Hungry, hungry, hungry." Dummy flew to Yun Jioge's side and opened his mouth wide. "Stop howling and talk seriously." Yun Jioge took out a bottle of cherry pill and poured it into Dummy's mouth. "Do you remember what happened in the past?" "Oh, I remember." Dummy chewed the cherry pill in big mouthfuls. Then he waved his wings at the busy eagle men in Cloud City and said, "These are my people. I am their prince." "Then do you remember how you successfully turned into a beast?" Yun Jioge poured a bottle of immortal dew for Dummy. "I remember. At that time, I passed by an open space and found a golden tree growing a few fragrant fruits. After eating them, they transformed. However, when I went to look for the golden tree, it was gone." This was Dummy's biggest secret. He didn't even tell Elder Bai. He only told him when Yun Jioga asked him. Do you remember where the tree grew? Yun Jioga asked quickly. I remember. But after the black rain, that place turned into a dead swamp. There was only an empty flat land left, Dummy said. Flat land? Is it Grey Castle? Yun Jioga looked at Zishang in shock. It should be. No wonder they built a castle there. It must be for the golden tree. Zishang's eyes lit up. We must find that golden tree. Yun Jioga had a feeling that as long as he found the golden tree, he would have hope of recovering his divine power. Grey Castle's defense is tight. It's not easy to break it. We must send the golden light orcs. Although Zishang could still forcefully break through it if he transformed into his original form, it was better to save some demonic energy. Let's see how many of them have died first. Yun Jioga and Zishang returned to the hall on the hill. The military counselor quickly tallied up the casualties. There were 357 lightly injured orcs, 138 severely injured orcs and 44 dead. These casualties were all golden light beastmen. Ordinary beastmen who were hiding in the plantation did not suffer any casualties. Miss Yun, Lord Yin Shirley's Yin Yang Qi has been used up. If Grey Castle attacks again, I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on, the military counselor said worriedly. Yi Zi wants to take this opportunity to fight back against Grey Castle. What do you think? Yun Jioga asked for his military counselor's opinion. Master Yi Zi is right. If we don't remove the roots, the grass will grow again when the spring breeze blows. We must take the initiative to attack. The military counselor nodded repeatedly. The orc race had always been a warlike race. Hiding like a tortoise was not in line with their style. That's a wise choice. Zishang was very satisfied with the military counselor's answer. How many orcs do you think we should bring? Yun Jioga asked Zishang. 100 elites will be enough. Zishang had already thought of a way to deal with Grey Castle. The puppets guarding Grey Castle mainly relied on the Devil Chi and the Death Chi. As long as Feifei absorbed the Death Chi around Grey Castle and turned it into Life Chi, the puppet orcs and monsters would be greatly restricted. Then they would be able to attack with twice the effort. 100 elites is no problem. The military counselor nodded repeatedly. Gather the people as soon as possible. We'll set off in 2 hours, Zishang said. So soon. Yun Jioga frowned. 2 hours was not enough for everyone to recover. We've already injured the Devil Soul. It's time to kill him while he's down. Zishang felt that even 2 hours was too long. I'll go inform them now. The military counselor immediately turned around and flew away. Dummy, go to Grey Castle with Grey to check out the situation. Also, see if it's where you found the golden tree. Zishang called Dummy over. Ow. Dummy saw that his people were in a critical situation, so he obediently went to do his work. Zishang, time is too tight. It's too dangerous. Yun Jioga was about to have a good talk with Zishang when the voice of the rabbit chief came from outside the door. Miss Yun, I have something to tell you. Come in. Yun Jioga could only put Zishang's matter aside for now. The rabbit chief walked in with a Sika deer skin bag in his hand. Miss Yun, the carrots you asked us to plant are ready. The rabbit chief placed the animal skin bag on the table, and then took out the neatly bundled carrots inside. There were 3 piles in total, from left to right, each brighter and redder than the last. You planted these with blood? Yun Jioga pointed at the reddest pile and asked. Yes, the land here is very good. The harvest is better than I expected, the rabbit chief said. It looks very good. Yun Jioga picked it up and sniffed it. It had a strong smell of blood and even a trace of spiritual power. To be able to plant spiritual power in an arcane realm where spiritual power was forbidden, this blood carrot was very useful to cultivators. Of course it's good. I planted these with blood. The rabbit chief repeatedly emphasized her hard work. She didn't want to give up her offerings for nothing. Bring all these blood carrots here. I'll exchange this bottle of pills with you. There are 10 pills in total. Taking one will help you evolve once. Yun Jioga took out a bottle of cherry pills and placed it on the table. Thank you for your generosity. I'll bring the carrots over immediately. The rabbit chief carefully put away the cherry pills. In the attack of Cloud City, the rabbit people were the most injured. In the end, it was because they were too weak. With this bottle of pills, they had an extra layer of protection. After the rabbit chief left, Zishang picked up a blood carrot and tasted it. He said, it's full of spiritual power. If a cultivator is injured here, this is definitely the most suitable pill. That's right. That's why you eat it. It's useful. Yun Jioga slapped Zishang's hand away and put away all the blood carrots. Let's go to the rabbit people and get the rest of the blood carrots. Then we'll go pick the people. Zishang threw the rest of the carrots into his mouth. Yun Jioga and Zishang put away the blood carrots and went to find the military counselor. The military counselor had already gathered 100 elite warriors. Yun Jioga's guards were all among them. There were also the chiefs and elders of various tribes who volunteered. Go back and rest. We'll set off in an hour. Zishang waved his hand and dismissed them. This counterattack against Grey Castle was very dangerous. They might not return. It was good to let them say goodbye to their clansmen. Chapter 544. An hour later, Dummy and Ash flew back. Master, Grey Castle is where I found the golden tree. Let's hurry up and bring that treasure back. Dummy shouted excitedly. It wanted to rush in, but it didn't dare to because there were too many monsters around. All right, let's go now. Yun Jioga patted Dummy's fat head, then looked at Zishang. It's time. Yes. Zishang nodded and ordered the military advisor to gather the orc elites. The 100 orc elites were split into 2 teams. One team was made up of eagle men, carrying the Nagas as the vanguard. One group was made up of centaurs. They transformed into their original forms and carried other orcs towards Grey Castle at full speed. Yun Jioga and Zishang sat on Dummy's back, helping them clear away any obstacles that might appear in front of them. The group of people successfully arrived at the edge of the death swamp. The black aura of death shrouded the entire forest, and the muddy swamp had a faint fishy smell. In the past, orcs would be corroded as soon as they got close, but after awakening the golden light, they could finally resist the aura of death. At this moment, on the marshland, Grey Castle was tightly surrounded by countless puppet orcs. The gate was completely blocked by pitch-black magical beasts. Stay where you are and wait for my orders, Zishang ordered the military advisor. Yes. The military counselor nodded and began to organize the soldiers to stay where they were and wait for the attack. Let Grass and Feifei come out, Zishang said as he looked at Yun Jioga. These 2 little guys were the main force behind the attack on Grey Castle. Yun Jioga released Feifei and Xiao Qiao as instructed. The little black and white butterfly smelled the thick death qi in front of it, and its small eyes immediately lit up. Recently, it had fallen in love with the work of converting death qi. Xiao Cao's face drooped and she looked a bit dazed. She had been scared by Cho Sen today and still hadn't regained her composure. The eyeball poked its head out of its pocket. Just as it was about to shrink back, it was pulled out by Yun Jioga. Have you been here before? Yun Jioga asked, pointing at Grey Castle. I've been here before. Nangong, you built a demonic pool down there to nurture us, the eyeball answered honestly. Did you see a golden tree inside? Yun Jioga asked again. No, we were thrown out to work as soon as we were born, the eyeball said. It's a waste of time to ask him about this. We should hurry up and deal with these eyesores. Zishang said to Yun Jioga, later bring Feifei to the entrance to convert the death qi. Xiao Qiao and I will be responsible for eliminating the demonic creatures. Okay. Yun Jioga stuffed the eyeball back into Xiao Cao's pocket and flew down to her shoulder. Xiao Qiao also perked up and walked over to Zishang's side. What about me? Dummy asked. You're responsible for providing support outside. As soon as you see the kingdom of Grey Castle change its expression, ask the military counselor to lead the troops in, Zishang said. Oh, I promise I'll complete the mission. Dummy puffed up its fat chest and flew into the air. Let's go. Zishang took the lead and flew towards Grey Castle with Xiao Qiao. As soon as the 2 of them entered the range of the flat ground, the originally motionless puppet orcs instantly came to life. Arrows filled the sky and rained down on them. The black monsters drove the gray vines of the dead tree to block their way. Zidecisa's serpent tail lashed out, shattering countless puppet demonic beasts. Xiao Qiao raised her small hand high, and the black demonic energy turned into a big iron hammer, smashing those small demonic beasts into pieces. Feifei, let's go. Yun Jioga took Feifei through the crack created by Zishang and the others and came to the roof of Grey Castle. Feifei immediately flapped its wings, and the black death aura immediately turned into white vitality, dyeing the roof of Grey Castle white. The demonic beasts felt a great sense of crisis, and the dead tree vines immediately turned to Yun Jioga. At this time, Dummy happened to see the change in the kingdom of Grey Castle, and immediately flew to the military counselor and shouted, You can attack now. Kill. The military counselor immediately transformed into his original form, a slender black eagle, and took the lead to attack Grey Castle. The other orcs also transformed into various beast forms, roared, and rushed into Grey Castle to fight. The puppet orcs and demonic beasts, who were originally attacking in an orderly manner, were stunned by the sudden attack. Their attacks became messy and disorderly, and a gap finally appeared in the tightly covered door. Yun Jioga and Zishang took the opportunity to rush over, and finally pushed open the gate and killed their way into Grey Castle. The defense inside Grey Castle was very weak, and the two of them rushed straight in, quickly arriving in front of the huge stone gate. "Be careful of the devil's soul hiding in there to attack," Yun Jioga said vigilantly. "It wasn't my target when it possessed me, and it's even more impossible now." Zishang put his hand on the gate and pushed it open with force. The room behind the stone gate was dark and frighteningly quiet. The walls were filled with countless iron cages and there was nothing in them. Only the remnants of hair and bloodstains on the ground showed that countless golden light orcs had been imprisoned here. Zishang walked over to check and said, "Those golden light orcs should have been devoured by the devil's soul." Yun Jioga opened his spirit eye to search around, but did not find any traces of the devil's soul. Instead, he found the fluctuation of a barrier on one of the walls. The three pure Qian Kuan formation, the purple cloud sect's signature formation, Zishang said after careful examination. It must have been set up by Nangongyu. "Move aside, I'll break it." Yun Jioga found the spirit stones used to set up the barrier, and released moon spirit threads to penetrate the wall and devour the spirit stones. The spirit energy was exhausted and the wall collapsed, revealing a wide space. It was empty inside. On the left was a dried-up black pool, and in the middle was a huge pit as if something had been uprooted. "That's the demonic pool that gave birth to us." The eyeball floated out of Feifei's pocket and pointed at the dry pool. "What about this?" Yun Jioga picked up the soil in the pit and brought it to the tip of his nose. He could immediately smell a familiar divine power. The golden tree that Dummy mentioned must have been planted here. "I don't know about that. The demonic pool we grew up in has a barrier so we can't see what's happening outside." The eyeball blinked. "You're lying." Yun Jioga picked it up, squinted and said, "You said that when you were born there was an accident in the demonic pool, and that's why you mutated. Is this accident related to the thing in this pit?" The eyeball was shocked. It did not expect Yun Jioga to guess so accurately. "Answer me honestly and you'll live. If you play any more tricks, I'll throw you into the demonic pool and reincarnate," Yun Jioga said coldly. I'll talk." The eyeball immediately replied honestly, "Actually, I don't know what happened either. The barrier suddenly shook and a very powerful aura floated in, and then I ate it." "And then?" Yun Jioga raised his eyebrows. "Then I saw that there seemed to be a person sealed in the golden tree," the eyeball said, bracing itself. "Is it a man or a woman? What does it look like? How old is it?" Yun Jioga pinched the eyeball and asked a series of questions. Chapter 545. "I don't know. I just glanced at it. Before I could see it clearly, the barrier returned to normal." The eyeball felt that it was really bitter. If it had known that this would be the outcome of becoming smart, it would have been better to just muddle along for the rest of its life. "Are you sure there's a person sealed inside the golden tree?" Yun Jioga asked again. "I'm not sure. I only saw a blurry image of a person." Yun Jioga squeezed the eyeball so hard that it felt like it was going to explode. "Calm down." Zishang pressed down on Yun Jioga's shoulder, dug out the eyeball from her palm and then threw it to Xiao Qiao. "Don't cry, Qiao." Xiao Qiao immediately comforted the poor eyeball. "Sob, sob, sob, little master." The eyeball felt that the grass in front of it was as cute as a fua. "Rub, rub." Xiao Qiao stretched out her hand to rub her eyeball, which made its face full of saliva. The eyeball immediately felt that there was nothing left to live for, so it burrowed back into Xiao Cao's pocket. "The person sealed by the golden tree is most likely Li Wei. Before I reincarnated, I asked him to help me safeguard my godhood," Yun Jioga said excitedly. She was just wondering why the golden light in the mystic realm was compatible with her god power. So it was caused by her godhead. "You actually let him take care of the divine spark?" Zishang frowned. The divine spark was the symbol of Yun Jioga's status as a goddess, and even he had never touched it. The situation was urgent at the time. After I discovered the clues about the catastrophe, I only had time to seal it with a godhead and give it to Li Wei. Yun Jioga was helpless. It was probably because she was in too much of a hurry when she took out the godhood, which caused her reincarnation to go wrong. "Aren't you afraid that Li Wei will use your divine spark to do bad things?" It wasn't that Zishang doubted Li Wei's loyalty, but the godhood was too important. Even he couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't be tempted. I placed a seal on the godhood as well. Other than me, no one can open it. No one can use it. If Yun Jioga hadn't held back, there was no way he would have handed it over to someone else. Then can you sense where the divine deity is right now? Zishang asked. I can't. Yun Jioga shook her head helplessly. If the eyeball had not reminded her, she would not have even been able to smell the godhood. Could there be a problem? Zishang was even more nervous than Yun Jioga. No, it should be related to the calamity of the godhood seal. The divine spark was something dug out from her divine soul. If there was really a problem, she would definitely be able to sense it. This soil is still very fresh. Nangong Yu and the others shouldn't have gone too far. If we search for them now, we should still be able to find some clues, Zishang said as he squatted in front of the pit. Then let's hurry up and get out. Just as Yun Jioga was about to leave, Fei Fei flapped its wings and came to the top of the devil's pool. It said with a look of confusion, "Why is there life chi down there? Could there be other creatures besides it that could create life chi? Let's open it up." Yun Jioga turned around and walked over to the side of the devil's pool. Together with Zishang, they dug out the devil's pool. There were 2 ice coffins at the bottom of the devil's pool. Lying inside were Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun. Zishang carried the 2 ice coffins up and removed the seals on them to get the people out. Yun Jioga went up to check on them and found that their bodies were fine. There was no demonic energy in their bodies. It was just that their divine senses were sealed. Be careful. Zishang stopped Yun Jioga's hand from inspecting, then gently brushed aside Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun's hair. Their scalps were pierced with silver needles that could imprison one's divine sense, and they shone with a strange light. Netherworld spirit sealing needles, Yun Jioga blurted out. This array was extremely vicious. The souls of people who were hit by this array would be turned into nutrients to nourish their bodies. It was a technique that the devil race often used to possess others. Looks like these 2 brats' bodies have already been reserved by someone. Zishang thought of Cho Sen, who had been possessed. He was most likely killed by this array. Help me protect them. I'll remove these silver needles. Removing the netherworld spirit sealing needles was very particular. They had to be removed one by one according to the order in which the needles were inserted. Otherwise their souls would be destroyed. Fortunately, Yun Jioga was very familiar with this array. Using his spirit eye, he successfully removed the silver needles. However, Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun had been sealed for a long time. Their souls were very weak. Without the nourishment of spiritual energy, it was difficult for them to even open their eyes. Yun Jioga poured a few spirit pills into their mouths. Unfortunately, the effects were not obvious. The spirit sealing effect was too strong. Give them the Rabbitman race's blood radish, Zishang said from the side. Oh right, I almost forgot about this treasure. Yun Jioga took out the Rabbitman race's blood radish, crushed it into powder, and stuffed it into the 2's mouths. Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun subconsciously swallowed it. Their dim souls were nourished by spiritual energy. Finally they slowly opened their eyes. Lady Yun. Nangong Li's voice was very hoarse. It was as if he hadn't spoken for a long time. Where is this? Bailey Moyun shook his head. He still didn't understand the situation. This is Nangong Yu's base camp. Your souls were sealed by the netherworld spirit sealing needles. You were almost turned into human cauldrons, Yun Jioga said. She's not Nangong Yu. Nangong Li panted heavily and retorted agitatedly. If she's not Nangong Yu, then who is she? When we were in the 100,000 mountains, why did you leave us and enter the mystic realm? Yun Jioga asked. I don't know who she is. When we were in the 100,000 mountains, she bewitched Cho Sen and tied us up. Then she left you and entered the mystic realm. Nangong Li's emotions gradually stabilized. When Nangong Yu and Cho Sen disappeared together, the Purple Cloud sect master used a secret technique to summon her soul back. Nangong Yu's soul told them that there were many treasures in the primal chaos mystic realm. The indigenous beastmen inside were born with strong vitality. They could be refined into supreme-grade essence longevity pills. The Purple Cloud sect master wasn't young anymore. He was constantly worried about the day when his lifespan would end. After listening to Nangong Yu's soul, he made up his mind to enter the mystic realm. Their Purple Cloud sect had prepared for many years. They were just waiting for Cho Sen to find the treasure map and enter the mystic realm. Unexpectedly, the news of the primal chaos mystic realm was leaked. Someone even found another path to enter the mystic realm. However, only golden core cultivators and above could enter. When the Purple Cloud sect received the news, they decided to make two preparations. One was to let Nangong Li bring Nangong Yu's soul to follow Cho Sun into the mystic realm. The other was to let the golden core cultivators of the sect enter through another path. Bailey Moyun had followed them in by accident. That soul isn't my aunt Nangong Yu. The moment she entered the mystic realm, she used the excuse of helping Cho Sen remove the seal. She gave Cho Sen's body to a demonic soul that appeared out of nowhere. She even sealed us all. Nangong Li's eyes were filled with hatred. That's right. Miss Yun, before I was sealed, I heard that they captured all the golden core cultivators. They were preparing to use them as a blood sacrifice to remove a certain seal. Hurry and save them. You must not let Nangong Yu's scheme succeed, Bailey Moyun said hurriedly. Chapter 546. Looks like this was all a trap set by Nangong Yu. She's been planning this for a long time. Nangong Yu and Cho Sen were probably controlled by the demon as soon as they entered the secret realm. Nangong Yu and the others are either after your divinity or clues about the catastrophe. We have to find them as soon as possible. Zishang was very uneasy. Although Yun Jioga swore that no one could break her seal, Nangong Yu had a strange background. Who could be 100% sure that the seal was safe? Have dummy and military advisor investigate immediately. Hopefully we can find clues about their departure. But Yun Jioga felt that it would be difficult. Nangong Yu was obviously a very cautious person. Miss Yun, I had Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying keep an eye on them before I was sealed. If you find them, you should be able to find Nangong Yu. Bailey Moyun forced himself to stand. He felt dizzy after being sealed for so long. Nangong Li's face was pale and he was also very tired. He almost fell on Xiao Chao when he stood up. If Xiao Chao had used her magic to support him, he wouldn't have fallen to the ground. Is there any use in having them watch Nangong Yu? Yun Jioga frowned. Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying's levels were very low. How could Nangong Yu not notice them? The two of them awakened a new ability after entering the secret territory. They can absorb the aura of death and wrap it around their bodies without being discovered. Furthermore, Nangong Yu has never taken them seriously, so they've managed to hide themselves very well, Nangong Li explained in a hoarse voice. That's right. We're only in the Foundation establishment realm. Nangong Yu was very lax at first, even treating us as companions in front of the gnolls. Originally we wanted to endure it and find a chance to escape, but Nangong Yu was too vicious. She used the food of the beastmen to spread her demonic aura, wanting to turn those pregnant women into magical creatures. We couldn't help but argue with her, and we were sealed in the crystal coffins. Bailey Moyun sighed. It was all his fault for being too impulsive. Fei Fei, can you summon Xiao Ying and Xiao Tao? Yun Jioga lowered his head and asked Fei Fei. He was originally a mother Gu and had a strong control over all Gu in the world. I'll try. Fei Fei landed on Yun Jioga's shoulder and closed his eyes to feel. Soon he felt a familiar fluctuation. They're in the east, not far from us, Fei Fei said, opening his eyes. Let's go. Zishang immediately turned and left. Yun Jioga was about to leave with Xiao Chao when he saw that Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun were on the verge of collapsing. He gave them 2 more blood radishes and said, "This can replenish your spiritual power. You guys rest first, I'll send someone to pick you up later." And Bailey Moyun and Nangong Li knew that they would only be a burden if they followed, so they did not force themselves. Yun Jioga quickly left with Xiao Chao. They saw Zishang standing at the door and talking to the military advisor. When he saw them he said, "I've already told the military advisor to take care of Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun. Leave the rest to them. Let's hurry and chase after Nangong Yu." "Well, I was ready," Dummy shouted from the side. "All right." Yun Jioga nodded and sat on Dummy's back with Zishang and Xiao Chao. The group headed east. Fei Fei had been searching for Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying with her eyes closed the whole time. Then she gave them directions. After flying for about an hour, Yun Jioga suddenly felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. This is the place where we dropped when we first entered the mystic realm. Zishang's memory was better than Yun Jioga's. He pointed to a small hill in front of them and said, "This is where we met the leopard men and the lizard men." "That's right, this is the place." Yun Jioga also remembered. Could there be a reason why Nangong Yu moved them here? Xiao Tao and the rest are right in front. Fei Fei directed Dummy to fly forward for another incense stick's time. Then they saw a boundless forest of dead trees. The dark brown wasteland looked like a grayish-white sea. "They're right there." Fei Fei pointed to the forest of dead trees. Yunjioga opened his spirit eye and carefully observed the forest of dead trees. Other than a black deathly aura, there was nothing else. Eyeball, can you see anything? Yunjioga took out the eyeball from Xiao Chao's pocket. What a fragrant smell. The eyeball stared at the forest of dead trees below with a lifeless expression. It looked like it could not control itself. I can smell the scent of a devil's pool. Nangong, you must have built a devil's pool below. Do you have a way to sneak us in? Yunjioga did not want to alert the enemy. It would be best if they could sneak in to check the situation. Yes, there are many monsters in this forest of dead trees. You just need to catch them and put them on your body to hide your scent. However, after you defeat Nangong you must give me the devil's pool. The eyeball stated its conditions coldly. What do you want the devil's pool for? Yunjioga looked at it suspiciously. The devil's pool is the source of my power. If I can absorb it, I can improve my abilities. The eyeball pretended to be impatient. Deal. Yunjioga had a good impression of this clever and tactful little monster. If he trained it well, it would be a good pet for Xiao Chao to play with in the future. But this fat eagle can't follow us in. The eyeball looked at Dummy in disdain. Stupid beastmen who can't even speak properly will only ruin the plan. Ow. Dummy felt that it was being despised and immediately roared angrily. It wanted to spit a string of fireballs at it. Alright Dummy, you just wait outside. Yunjioga patted Dummy's head and fed it a few spirit pills. Dummy immediately shut up in satisfaction. Follow me. The eyeball's red pupil emitted a ball of light that fell on the forest. A dozen black monsters were attracted over and finally knocked out. Yunjioga and Zishang jumped onto Dummy's back into the dead tree forest. The dead tree forest was dim and smelled fishy. The black monsters on the ground were all strangely shaped. They looked like human limbs, ears, noses, mouths and other organs. Yunjioga took out 2 cloth bags and put the black monsters in them. He handed one to Zishang. Xiao Tao and Xiaoying are over there. Fei Fei squatted on Yunjioga's shoulder, its white wings pointing to the center of the forest. That's where the demonic aura is the thickest. The devil's pool must be there. The eyeball was very excited as if it could already smell the demonic aura. It smells good. Xiao Chao also clapped her hands excitedly. The demonic aura was also very nutritious to her. If you find it, I'll give you half, the eyeball said generously. Half. Xiao Chao didn't care. Be good, Xiao Chao. Rest first. Yunjioga put Xiao Chao into the demonic cauldron and tied the eyeball with moon spirit silk. We're so familiar with each other. Why are you still using this thing? The eyeball was very depressed. Before you form a contract with me, you're just a captive. Yunjioga wouldn't easily believe this guy. Alright. The eyeball also knew that words were useless. It could only float forward obediently. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.